Hello everybody, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. I hope my sound is loud and clear. Please give me yeah, it says post fight. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know that the sound is working perfectly. Guys, you're right. Thank you for that typo. That was supposed to say pre-fight. It is pre-fight. Now I fixed it. I hope it's showing up on your screens, guys. The pre-fight is pre-fight analysis for Cannonier and Adesanya. Jared Cannonier versus. I hope my sound is loud and clear. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Yes, guys, thank you for my, this is my hoodie. I don't know if it's a poncho or not. It's one of my Mexican friends that gave it to me. I absolutely love this thing. I wear it at night, and it's chilly today, so I put on my kind of hoodie poncho. I love hoodies, guys. I'm a freak of hoodies and t-shirts. If you guys know me, I love hoodies. I have all sorts of hoodies. And this is one of my favorite ones. One of my Mexican buddies gave it to me. It has a Mexican type of feel to it. I really absolutely love this this thing. Okay, guys. So quick analysis. I'm gonna give you guys my quick analysis of Adesanya versus Cannonier. My pick, guys. I'm picking Adesanya. I think all of you are gonna be picking Adesanya, the vast majority. However, I still think this is an incredibly interesting fight, and I'm not counting out Cannonier. He can do it. He can make it happen. He's got the power. He's got the will. He's got the heart. The man fought as a heavyweight. I watched his heavyweight fight right before doing this episode. I couldn't recognize him. I couldn't recognize him. Like, I would not recognize him. If you show me that heavyweight fight, you would have to tell me that's Jared Cannonier. I would not have recognized him. He was massive. His face was massive. His body was massive. Okay, he's fighting a middleweight. He's probably still got a lot of that light heavyweight power that he competed in those divisions. He's got a lot of power, man. He's got incredible amounts of power. But still, he's fighting arguably the greatest middleweight of all time. He's fighting arguably the greatest middleweight of all time. So here's what I think is going to happen. I'm not going to be too long on this analysis, okay, guys, because I think we're all going to have an agreement here. It's not the most tantalizing fight. I almost didn't do this fight, but I don't want to make it sound like Cannonier has no chance to win. He absolutely does have a chance to win, but here's the thing. Adesanya's footwork, his movement is too strong. It's just too strong. Cannonier did really well against Anderson Silva, and Anderson Silva's movement is super strong. And Anderson Silva was giving him the looks, and Anderson Silva went southpaw, but he chopped Anderson's leg. He popped his leg. He broke his leg down within one round. That was an old Anderson Silva. That was a beat up Anderson Silva. That win was a great win for Cannonier. Not take anything away from him, but there's a lot of guys who helped chip in that win. Anderson Silva's been in a lot of wars. His body's broken down. There's a lot of guys who helped Cannonier get a win that night. I'm talking past opponents of Anderson Silva who chopped down that leg, who've beat up that body. So, can he do that to Adesanya? Possibly, but very unlikely. Adesanya is not going to be there when he throws those kicks. Adesanya is arguably the greatest middleweight of all time. When he gets out in front of him, I don't think it's going to phase Cannonier, but his movement is going to phase. I was going through Cannonier's fights. There's just nobody he fought that does anything like Adesanya does. His ability to cut off the ring. I was watching Cannonier's ability to cut off the ring. He's good. He's very good. He's very dangerous. He has a lot of heart. He has a lot of power. There's no doubt he has incredible power. He's built like a rock, man. The guy's stone. He's taking shots. And even Brunson had him in a full rear naked choke under the chin. He was just, man, this guy's so robust. Yes, the bell saved him. That's true. By the way, guys, I really think they need to change the rules in MMA. If I have you in a full sub and the bell rings, you should not be saved by the bell. You should not. The round is not over till you escape that sub. Just like you can't be saved in a good boxing fight. Okay, the rules fluctuate in boxing, but if I knock you down, there's something. Most of the time, you can't be saved by the bell. There's a clause. No, if I knock you down and the bell rings, you still have to make the 8 count. You have to be up and on your feet by 8. If you're not, I win. Doesn't matter the bell rang. Cannonier was in a full rear naked choke. Brunson had him in a full choke. I remember when I was watching BJ Penn's versus Jens Pulver. BJ Penn gets him down to the ground, puts Jens Pulver in a full arm lock. If you guys don't remember this, I think this was like I think the first 155 world title fight, if I remember correctly. It was, or one of the first, but I think it was the first world title fight at 155. Jens Pulver versus BJ Penn. BJ Penn has Jens Pulver in a full locked out armbar, bell rings. Jens Pulver's out. Jens Pulver ends up winning that fight. Now I'll tell you something. The referee, if the bell rings, should not interfere. Jens Pulver, Jared Cannonier, you have to escape on your own. And the round is not over till you either escape or tap. If you escape, we stop the round. Who cares? It's going to take a minute, 2 minutes. That will be wildly crazy. Usually it'll take a few seconds extra. You shouldn't be able to be saved by the bell. Your opponent, he got you to the ground. He did everything he had to do. The state is interfering. Anyways, that's a rule I think they should really change. But back to what I was saying. Jared Cannonier, full rear naked choke, still fighting till the end. I don't think he knew how much time was left. I'm sure his corner was screaming it out, but you just saw he wasn't trying to wait out the clock. He was still there like, oh man, it's incredibly how robust he is. However, I still think Adesanya is going to pick and poke, stick and move. He's going to be like a ghost, similar to what he did to Costa. And he's just going to have too much variety, too much footwork, too much explosiveness, too much robustness. And also Adesanya has an incredible chin. Now, I know he's been knocked out one time in his career. That was Alex Pereira, which I just saw a headline saying, I didn't listen to what Adesanya says, but he's saying that Alex Pereira is the most hyped up guy in UFC. I can't disagree more. Adesanya is completely wrong. Alex Pereira, in my opinion, pound for pound, he's the best striker in the world. In my opinion, pound for pound. Not MMA, striking, strictly striking. He's the best in the world. Like, he'll put anybody in a coma. I have a high regard for his striking ability. He's incredible. Okay, now we saw his fight in UFC. The guy was taking him down. And then all of a sudden, second round starts. He throws a scissor and he knocks the guy out clean. Yeah, if he touches you, he has the touch of death. Like, it's incredible. If they teach him how to wrestle, if they teach him how to grapple, man, oh man, is he going to be scary. I look forward to seeing how his career develops. Guys, with that said, Tristar Digital is now live. Check it out. A lot of you have been asking me about Tristar Digital. It is now live. Everybody on there, thank you. And I know you guys are enjoying the content. There's way more content to come. I'm filming almost every single day. An avalanche of content coming your way. Okay, guys, I want to hear your vote. Okay, I want you guys to give me initials of the fighter you think is going to win. And then I'm going to take a quick tally. And then I'm going to take in your comments and questions. I missed a super chat here. Thank you from Jesse on Fire. Jesse on Fire says, for us, big fan, have you considered that Max versus Hulk is the first GOAT fight where you have a definitive two best guys ever and their weight fighting is their prime? Agree. Guys, I personally still think Jose Aldo was the greatest featherweight of all time. Now, I know I'm getting a lot of heat for that. That's just my personal opinion. You know, there's, of course, McGregor beat him. And he beat him in 13 seconds and in style and in a devastating fashion. And it was jaw-droppingly amazing. I was there, okay? But he never defended the title and he went on to have losses. Jose Aldo took that loss and came back. He came back to beat Frankie Edgar for the interim title at UFC 200. And he came back and he came back. And now he went down to 135 as well and he's still winning. I have to check his record now. What happened to him at 135? I got to double check that again. I know he had a few losses, but also some stunning performances. Okay, let me just double check here. Jose Aldo, man, what a win! Like, I think a lot of you guys are a little younger. You haven't been there when he was going through his tear. Okay, let's look at his. I'm looking here. Oh my God, man, he has win after win. Don't forget, guys, he was WEC champion. UFC didn't have a 145 weight division, so he was the champion of WEC, which was UFC, owned by UFC, at 145. Don't forget. And then when they opened up, they absorbed WEC. They took all the fighters from WEC and put them in UFC. They had the 145 division. He goes on a tear and beats absolutely everybody. Mike Brown, Uriah Faber, Manny Gamburian, Mark Hominick, Kenny Florian, Chad Mendez, Frankie Edgar, Korean Zombie, Ricardo Lamas, Chad Mendes, in an epic battle. If you guys didn't see that, of course you guys seen that fight. It's one of the best title fights in history. Loses to Conor McGregor, comes back to win against Frankie Edgar. Loses to Max Holloway twice in a row. Now, I do remember that, okay, guys? Max Holloway definitely is a better fighter than him if they fought again. Max is in the prime of his career. But Jose Aldo was at the end of his rope during that time. You guys got to see this incredible run he was on. I mean, I don't want to count the fights, but he was beating the who's who. Now, I'm saying it's arguable who was the best of all time because Max Holloway, man, Max Holloway is an incredible 145er. Let's see what he did here. Let's see who he beat again. He beat Jose Aldo twice, beat Anthony Pettis, beat Jose Aldo twice. Then he lost to Dustin Poirier. That was at 55. Then he beat Frankie Edgar. That was at 45. And then he loses twice in a row to Alexander Volkanovski. Now, he beat Calvin Kattar. That's an incredible win. He beat Yair Rodriguez. I just watched that fight again today. What a fight. What an incredible fight. Yair Rodriguez fought brilliantly in round 1 and round 2. Things got shaky. What a back and forth battle. And in round 3, Max Holloway just starts taking over. He's a phenom. But look at this. Look how he won his title. He won his title. He beats Ricardo Lamas. He beats Anthony Pettis. He beats Jose Aldo twice in a row, but a broken Jose Aldo. And Jose Aldo at the end of his career, who then later on goes down to 135. Okay. And then loses. He beats Brian Ortega. That was arguably his best performance ever. Okay. He loses Dustin Poirier for the 55er title. Beats Frankie Edgar at 145. Very impressive. But again, Frankie Edgar very past his prime. Very past his prime. And then he loses twice to Alexander Volkanovski. Now, look, I thought he beat Alexander Volkanovski. But the fights were so close, we can't say he was the greatest of all time. In my opinion, we can't say. When Jose Aldo beat Chad Mendes in the first title fight, it was super back and forth. Super, like it was a seesaw battle. Incredibly dramatic battle. But everybody agreed Jose Aldo won. Second time they fight, he knocks him out. He knocks out Chad Mendes. Now, Chad Mendes was in his prime. Chad Mendes was tearing up the 145 division. He was the Volkanovski of the time. Now, I know Volkanovski beat Chad Mendes. I saw the fight. You could see that the torch is being passed. One generation becoming, superseding another. But he lost. Max Holloway lost twice to Volkanovski. Now, the wins the Volkanovski got were still so close. They were not, Volkanovski and Max Holloway didn't dominate the division, in my opinion, the way Jose Aldo had a domination. When Jose Aldo fought Mark Hominick had come into UFC, beat the 155 best, the uncrowned champion. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Let me see here. Jose Aldo. Yves Edwards. Okay, he beat Yves Edwards at 155. He's a 145er. Then, of course, the 45 division opened up for him. They let him fight because he was last-minute replacement at 55. He goes on 145, goes on a tear, fights Jose Aldo. Now, Jose Aldo completely dominated that fight until the very end of the fight, the last round. Okay, the Hominick took him down. I actually know that wasn't Hominick. I think I can't remember how it ended, but I remember Hominick coming on strong in the last round. Okay, I remember I was there. It was many years ago. Again, Jose Aldo was winning those fights in style. He was winning. There was no controversy over his wins. He was winning them head and shoulders above the rest. Max Holloway had, in my opinion, beat Volkanovski. Round 1, first fight was very close. I thought the second fight he won it. I couldn't believe that they gave it to Volkanovski. So can I say Volkanovski's the best? I don't think he won those fights. Can I say Max Holloway's the best? He didn't win that convincingly enough. He didn't win that. There's still incredible featherweights, legends, and the title is still up for grabs. But in my opinion, watching how Jose Aldo win those fights in such incredible style, in my opinion, and because he was so undisputed. He was so undisputed. He hung around too long. That was his downfall. Anderson Silva is the greatest middleweight of all time, still in my opinion. I think Adesanya can surpass him. However, still not. I don't think he has yet. But you guys might not agree with me because Anderson Silva stuck around for too long. And you guys started seeing him, old and beat up. I saw him when he was... Guys, we thought there was nobody left to fight him. Who had the guts to step in there with him? Nobody. He beat everybody so badly at middleweight. There was just no man left. And even so, sometimes his fights were boring. Like when he fought Damian Maia, there was almost no chance. Like the chances of Damian Maia winning throughout the fight, Adesanya was never. Anderson Silva was never in any danger, and it was kind of like watching a kid play with his food. Everybody was so frustrated, and then he did the same thing again in Montreal. I'm forgetting who he fought now, but he did the same thing again. He just kind of picked and poke, stick and move, and not really fight. But because I don't know why he was doing it. It was like almost a personality issue. I remember the UFC being furious with him, the fans being furious with him. But we knew he could take care of business. Now, he did have that incredible win over Chael Sonnen. Again, one of the greatest heavyweight fights of all time. If you guys haven't seen Adesanya, I keep calling him Adesanya. Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen, the first fight. For those of you who haven't seen it, you have to watch it. It's one of the greatest fights of all time. Not just title fights, fights of all time. Chael Sonnen, the underdog, beating the legend, beating him over and over again, just beating him the whole 4.5 rounds, even more than 4.5. There was like 30 seconds left, and Anderson Silva subs him with a triangle. Again, so unlikely that he can pull it off because he's not known for his subs really, and he has performed triangle. He has scored triangles in the past. However, not the greatest grappler, you know. And he does it. He beats Chael Sonnen, and the rematch completely annihilates, just beats Chael Sonnen down in round 2. Round 1 he got dominated, but you could tell that he was kind of like just playing, waiting his time, waiting for the bell to ring. And let me see your guys' vote here. Let's see. Did you guys vote? Somebody out there is saying the 45 division was weak back then. That's from La Leyenda Negra. No, it was not weak at all. The division at 45 was monstrous. It's just you guys are seeing the new generation of fighters, and you're seeing the old generation of fighters kind of getting beat up. Guys, that's what's going to happen to this generation. One day you're going to watch it. You're going to watch Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski walk in there. If they stick around, fight these new up-and-coming kids and just get smacked around and get beat up. Guys, it happens every generation. Now, some very few persist and beat that generation coming up and they retire on top. It does happen. Okay, it does. However, the vast majority of fighters never succeed to beat 1, 2, or 3 generation of fighters. Jose Aldo, I would say, successfully beat 2 generations of fighters. If he had beaten McGregor, we would have said, look, he's undisputedly the greatest featherweight of all time. I'm telling you, it's disputable. I do agree it's disputable. My pick is Jose Aldo. What I'm saying is he stuck around for too long, and that's why it's so debatable. But there was a time and place, guys, where he cleaned out the division, and there was no second place. Volkanovski and Max Holloway are the 2 best guys. They're not, one is not better than the other. The fights are so close, we can't decide who won. Okay, you change your judges, you have a different result that night. Like I said, if I was a judge, I was scoring it for Max Holloway. I was scoring it for Max. I could see that the fights were close, and you can interpret it a different way. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, thank you, Varun, for correcting me. He knocked out Chad Mendes in the first fight and then took him to decision in the second fight. That is correct. Thank you very much. I mixed that up. Hey, Coach, love the hoodie. I want to buy a TriStar one, but you're out of stock. That's from Brandon Deisborg. Brandon, I will be, we're getting new merch on a regular basis. Just call the gym and ask for it. Nice poncho, Coach. Tabakarat. Thank you, Andrew Palim. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I absolutely love this poncho, guys. I almost changed it. I was like, you know what? Let them see the poncho. Who cares about I have the poncho on or not? Guys, this thing is so warm. It's incredible. He fought Thales Ladies. Yes, that's correct. Coach, why don't you post your podcast on Spotify? Absolutely need to do that. And I heard it's not on iTunes anymore. Cousin Sammy. SOS, Cousin Sammy. My Cousin Sammy's the button pusher who takes care of that. I have to remember to tell him to put it on Spotify. Guys, I'm probably going to be putting a lot of this content in the future and more. A lot of button pushers are sending me messages about this. We will make it happen. I promise you. There's just so much digital stuff going on in my life right now. So I got to take it one step at a time. Hey, Coach, did you see the video of bone fragments that came out of Bernardo Faria's elbow after his surgery? It was pretty brutal. No, I didn't see that, actually. I would like to see that. Let me look it up right now. Bernardo Faria. One of the great grapplers in our time. Excuse me. Oh, snap. Look at this. He did his elbow, huh? See, guys, no, I'm not. They're not showing the bone fragments here. They're just showing in post-surgery. I would actually love to see that. I'm actually very interested in injuries. Of course, I do so much work in injuries, but my elbows are super A1, number one, super healthy. And I do a lot of stability work. I really think that's the key. Training with a margin of error and doing your fitness after practice. Fitness is so important, like your stability work, your conditioning. It's so important. People skip that, and I feel they pay the price. What else we got here? Is the Tim Tam safe to use on your neck? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. My boy, Anthony Kenville. Anthony is asking, Coach, John D is a materialist. What do you say to him about that? Have you guys ever talked about the essence of humans? Have a safe trip tomorrow. Much love. Thank you, Anthony, very much. I'm off tomorrow on a trip for another fight. Yes, we talk about. I like to keep our conversations a bit private. Okay, so I don't want to talk about his personal worldview. Yes, he's my trainer, and we have very different worldviews, guys. I'll tell you something about philosophy. Okay, get used to it. We all disagree with one another. We all disagree with one another all the time. All the thinkers, that's scholarship. All scholars eventually disagree with their master. It's just the way that it is. It's the frustrating thing about logic. Study the history of logic. There are a few things we agree on, like a handful of things we agree on throughout the ages, and then everything else we completely disagree. And we form different camps, and we keep arguing. There is no massive consensus. Now, there are consensus on certain things. Here's my problem with materialism. Is they invoke a dream world. They invoke this world. Like the same thing they say about theists, they're doing it themselves. Like, for instance, in materialist philosophy, there's this thing out there called matter. What is this thing? And we asked them, show it to us. I want to see it. You talking about matter? Well, I'd love to see it. And then they can never show it to us. All they can ever show us is, it's hard to explain. You see, look at this phone here, okay? Look at this phone. They could show me a phone. They could look, here's a phone. And here's this glass of water here. See these two things? They're made of stuff. I'm telling him, idealist, we'd say, look, we're just seeing a phone. Where's the stuff? We're telling him, look, the phone is a particular and the glass of water is a particular. And then you in your own mind, you're invoking that they have this thing in common called matter. They have this thing in common called matter. And we say, look, that's part of the mental realm. The mental realm. It's never observed. Pure raw matter is never observed. All you're ever showing me are colors and shapes. You're showing me colors and shapes. Now, here's the tricky thing about colors and shapes. We've talked about this many times. We're going to talk about it all the time for years to come till it's so crystal clear. Berkeley's triangle. Berkeley says, look, picture a triangle without a color. You can't. You can't picture a triangle without a color. If you picture a triangle, it's red, it's green, it's blue, it's pink, it's purple. If you take away the subjectivity out of that triangle, take away everything that's subjective, the color, there's nothing left. The fact that a triangle has 3 sides, that it has 3 corners, that the angles add up to 180 degrees, that's all mental. That's all part of the mental realm. You see, here's the very interesting thing. Actually, you're making me think of the documentary I just watched. What is a Woman? I just watched What is a Woman. I was making my wife watch it. Oh man, was it? I thought it was good. I don't think it answered the question in the end, which is sad. But it was quite funny. Now, here's the thing about the human beings. Human beings, we live in 4 dimensions, yes, but we live in 2 worlds at the same time. Try to listen to what I'm saying here, okay? We live in the world of observation. the empirical world, the things you can see, you can taste, you can hear, you can touch. And then we live in the world of the psyche. We have this mind. We have this place called mind where we can't locate it. We can't grab it. We can't put it in a test tube. But we're having this direct experience of mind. Okay? The materialists are saying, look, matter exists. We're saying, no, look, hold on. We never observed matter. All we observed was red, white, blue, and the shapes. The shapes are all mental, and we see this dream world. We see this world of colors, and it's all the colors, and all that is all subjective. I know it's sounds a little weird. Look up idealism if you want to go further into it. But we're saying, look, where do we ever see raw matter? We never see it. It's conjuncture. Now, a famous example of this, a famous world famous example, is the work of Kant. Kant, one of the greatest thinkers of all time, made a huge blunder once upon a time. He made a huge blunder that was only later pointed out by Hegel. We're talking about thousands of thinkers reading his material. Nobody picked it up except Hegel. Hegel pointed it out, and it was quite astonishing that he did that. Kant used to tell us that, look, there's this world out there that's causing all our experiences. You're living in a world out there, and we call it Kantian's wall. There's this wall on the other side where H2O lives. On this side of the wall, it's just how we experience H2O. It goes through our senses, and the way it tickles our brains, we experience it that way. But we don't know what real H2O is, raw. We're interpreting it with our senses. You're interpreting it with your senses. We don't know what H2O looks like without any interpretation. Just raw observation of H2O. So Kant says, look, there's this wall, and we can never penetrate this wall. And he was saying, look, we're always trapped behind our senses. And Hegel later on pointed out that Kant also assumed that cause and effect was mental. So what's causing our sensation is also mental. It's also trapped in the mind. Remember, I told you we live in two worlds, a world of the psyche and the world of the world out there, the world we observe. Think about it. You have an internal world of your mind, and then you observe the world out there around you. You see trees, houses, roads, other people, things you observe. The unobserved part of you, the invisible part, the part nobody knows but you, is your own personal psyche, which is interesting. Why I was thinking, like, the whole time when I was watching What is a Woman, nobody ever pointed out something so simple. Listen, I'm really not like, I'm not gender, I'm old school, okay? Men go in the men's bathroom, women go in the women's bathroom. And how I define a man, I say, look, empirically, all I can observe is your genitalia. Not that I want to observe anybody's genitalia out there, okay? But that's all we can observe. Your psyche, that's your business. Don't go in the in the documentary What is a Woman, there's a scene where this woman is furious. She goes to the front desk and she's yelling at the staff of a spa. She's in a spa and she's yelling at them because they allowed a man in the women's locker room. And he's exposing himself to all the women, and there are minors in that section of the spa. And the staff, you can hear them saying, well, his how do you call it? He's gender fluid or whatever. They're trying to say, look, he considers himself a woman. So the woman's like, I don't care that I see a male genitalia, expletive. I see his junk, I see his junk. I don't give a shit what he says. She says, I don't care if she's cursing him. She's cursing them out. You guys condone this? And she's filming it with her phone. And they're like, yeah, well, we let him go in the bathroom because he tells us he's a woman. Anyways, lo and behold, it turns out to be a sex offender. They catch him. They arrest him. They get him out of there. You see, what these people are saying in the LGBT community, they're saying, look, psychologically, I identify as a woman. Nobody can verify. Nobody could tell you how you feel. Nobody could tell you. They're not incorrect in the sense. They're saying, look, I might have male genitalia, but in my mind, I'm this or that. One girl went in the documentary, she was saying she identifies as a wolf. She identifies as a wolf. Now, if you were to critique her, people nowadays, rewind 20, 30 years ago when I was a young kid, if you said that, you'd be put in a mental institution right away. They put you in a mental institution. That this person, mentally disabled, psychotic, crazy, whatever, they're gonna label you something and they'll put you in a rubber room. Today, as an adult, these young kids are telling us this, and we have to be like, whoa, don't you dare correct her. Don't you dare criticize her. Don't you dare do this. You have to accept her as how she is. Now, in her psyche, she's saying, I feel like I'm a wolf. Who are you to tell her she's not? I can't prove she doesn't feel that way. I can't prove she does feel that way. All I go by is my observation. If you're a male and you have if you have male genitalia, you're going in the male genitalia section. I don't care if you feel you're a woman. I don't care if that's how you define woman. Okay. So think about it like this. Is Pluto a planet? Well, when I was a kid, Pluto was a planet. Today, it's not a planet. I tell my kids today, they tell me, oh, Pluto's not a planet. Oh, it's not a planet? When I was a kid, it was a planet. It was a scientific fact. However, astronomers observed other planetary bodies that are very identical to Pluto and should be even more worthy of being called a planet. So if they call Pluto a planet, now we have all these thousands and thousands of planets we need to add to our solar system. So they said, you know what? It'd be easier. Cut out Pluto. At least this is my understanding, okay? Not that I researched it in depth, but Pluto was like there are a dime a dozen of Plutos out there. But we didn't know that. We had a limited scope, and now our scope is greater. And we're like, hey, you know what? It doesn't make sense to call Pluto a planet. The consensus changed. New information came in. The consensus changed. Now, this guy, Matt Walsh, he goes to Africa to ask them what is a woman. He goes down to Africa, which I love. And he's talking to these people in the tribe, and he's like, can a man become a woman? And they're like, are you crazy? If you think that, something's wrong with you. Something's wrong with your family. You're crazy. And they asked him, well, if, a man cannot be a woman. He goes, if you go to have sex with a woman, you know where you can put it in. But if you go to have sex with a man, where are you going to put it in? Now, the African tribe was too far removed from this kind of culture. In their mind, this is insanity. In our culture here, they're making it, there's a nuance here. They're saying, look, psychologically, I feel like I'm a woman. Psychologically, I have this emotion. I have this feeling. I identify myself as this. I don't see myself as you see me. I see myself otherwise. So now what takes precedence? How you feel mentally or how you look physically? It comes down to empiricism. Matt Walsh, the guy in What is a Woman? He's an empiricist. If you're a woman, show me your organs. That's how you prove you're a woman. I need to see it, hear it. I don't want to say taste it, guys. It's you know what I mean. The five senses here. He needs an empirical data for any argument you give him. Psyche, that's off the table because I cannot observe it. It's true. We believe psyche exists because each one have a psyche. We all have a psyche. However, since we cannot observe it in any way empirically, using the senses, that's your business. We're going to weigh what we can measure. That's it. That should be the end of the argument. If you have male genitalia, guess which bathroom you're going into. Because I'll tell you guys something. If a man went into the bathroom, a woman's bathroom, and I'm there, it's going to be a problem. I'm going to go physically remove him. Especially if my children or my wife or something. If that ever happened, guys, believe you me. And I'm not the only one. There are countless men like me out there. If you say you identify as a woman, that's your business. I don't care you identify as a woman. That's your business. Go in the men's bathroom and identify yourself on your own private time. Now, somebody sent me this article about women in jail getting pregnant. Why are these women in jail getting pregnant? Well, men are saying they identify as women. They get put into these female jails, and guess what happens? Women are pregnant. Is that a woman? How could two women get pregnant? Well, it's his psyche. Yeah, it's his psyche, but that's his business. They would never, look at the hypocrisy. They would never put a female in a male jail because she associates or identifies as a man. They would never do this. Never. Never. What would happen if a female-bodied person who identifies as a man was put into a prison? A maximum security male prison. What would happen? There's an obvious difference. Empirically, when it comes to your psyche, that's your business, guys. I have to take your word for it. I don't know what's going on inside your head. Anyways, I felt the documentary was done well, but it didn't go deep enough. It didn't scratch the surface even. It was too almost like the two sides hate each other so much. They were just like, every interview was like, oh, we're ending the interview. We're ending the interview. And I think Matt Walsh did a very good job, yes. But the people who interviewed didn't. They were so hostile. I found them to be so hostile and defensive. And I get it. They're probably like feeling very attacked all the time. It's a community that's very touchy. However, He never at the end of the documentary asks his wife, he says, maybe I should ask my wife. Okay, Jordan Peterson tells him, because he keeps asking people, what is a woman? And nobody can answer him. And then he asks Jordan Peterson at the end of the movie, what is a woman? He's like, you should go home and ask your wife. So he does. What does his wife say at the end of the movie? She says, I think it was something along the lines of biological female body or something like that. Again, empiricism. Matt Walsh is stuck on the fact that he has to observe it. There are things we cannot observe, like your psyche. We cannot observe it. They're saying, look, our psyche is this or that. Our psyche is different than how you observe my body. I think the proper response is, okay, that's your business. Keep it on your end. Keep it in your psyche then. Don't come here and change things in the empirical world. I don't want to have to take your word for it. You understand? How many men tomorrow, if we tell them, hey guys, if you identify as a woman, you can go in the women's locker room. If I was a teenager, guys, when I was a teenager, if you told me I could do that, I'd be in the women's locker room all the time. Like I was a young kid. I was out of control. My hormones were going crazy. Me and all my friends would have said, yeah, we identify as women. We would have done whatever it takes to go in the women's locker room. It's getting insane. So anyways, I thought the documentary was really well worth it. I thought it was pretty funny. There's a lot of madness. I mean, at one point, Matt Walsh asks one of the people he's interviewing, he says, look, what if I identify as a black man? Now that's pretty touchy. You want to say to people that you're black, but he's obviously white. He's Caucasian. Now the whites come from a particular history and the blacks come from a particular history. Now you want to say that you suffered from the same history that the blacks did? That would be very insulting to black people. Now, the guy, the leftist guy, the guy who's saying that your psyche is whatever you identify, he's been between a rock and a hard place now. He's like, look, if I say yes, now I'm insulting black people. And if I say no, I'm saying that you can't decide how you feel. Instead of answering, the guy just started first he starts saying, oh, are you biracial? Maybe you have some black genetics in you. Maybe your great-grandfather was black, perhaps. He was trying to pick and poke at, is there any physical? He went immediately to Matt Walsh's position that you need empirical data. It's not okay if you're a white man to say that you feel like a black man. But the leftist, he didn't want to admit it. And I found that Matt Walsh did a good job pinning him there, but he didn't press it enough. I think he should have pressed it more. He said, look, if I identify as a black man, is that insulting? Or is this how I feel? I don't think it's appropriate to say that. And I think the leftist knew it, but he just started saying, hey, well, maybe you have a great-grandfather that's black. He was trying to get out of it. Actually, the guy ended the interview. Actually, a lot of the people in that video ended the interview. Matt Walsh had some good questions. But what I didn't like is he dismissed the element of the psyche. The psyche is also very important. There are people out there whose psyche might not match their physical body. The scary thing is it's becoming more and more popular. I think it's becoming trendy. That's what I think it is. I think it's becoming trendy. Young kids who are very impressionable, watching superstars on the internet and their Instagram and this and that. Oh, I can get more likes if I were to do this or that. And they're falling into that trap. Okay, guys. What else we got here? Did I miss super chats? Hold on, I'm going back up. Coach, my gym is crumby. Fun is number 1. Sweating. Number 2, technique. Number 3, striking is only pads, gloves, and BJJ is full of brutes. How can I maximize my learning? Matthew Morrison, brother, you got to ask a question I can understand. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I think you're trying to say your gym is crummy. Fun is number 1. They want to have fun first. No. Fun is number 1. Sweating, number 2. Technique, number 3. You're saying they put technique last? Well, look, we live in a world of digital content, so that's a good thing. But if you don't like your gym very much, I would say explore different gyms. BJJ is full of brutes. Well, explore different gyms then, I would say. Explore different gyms. Okay, we got it. Coach, how do you accept the Quran as divine? ? Okay, that's quite a long... guys, that's from PK. Guys, PK, ultimately, I've talked about this many times. Look, ultimately, the Quran boils down to the fitrah. The Quran is telling you, Go back to your original religion you are born with. This is something I've accepted. I'm doing a lot of soul searching, a lot of, earlier on I talked about in philosophy, in logic, the logicians always end up rejecting their masters. Always. Aristotle rejected Plato. And so on. Galileo rejected Aristotle. Einstein disagreed with Isaac Newton. Time is relative, not a constant. Look, Isaac Newton was so certain that time is a constant that goes, it's one arrow, it goes in one direction. We were all, a lot of thinkers were in dead agreement. This is so obvious. This will never change. We're wrong. Okay. We thought Pluto was a planet. We were wrong. We always have to reserve the right to be wrong. Okay. Except in one instance. Okay. And this is what we call mysticism. In mysticism, there's 100% consensus. And I really believe the Quran is all about this. And the Quran tells Muslims, it tells us, look, you weren't there when the story of Noah happened. You know it by us telling you it. What do you really know? Know is different than belief. Guys, don't forget, knowing and believing is two different things. When you believe something, because you have evidence, or you're taking it up on somebody's authority, you have this faith that it's true. Knowing, you can't be wrong. Knowing is, I had direct experience. I have certainty, and no future information will overturn this. Okay, so this is, for me, this is like the biggest, most important thing in my life to achieve. Like, I wanted certainty. And I really believe that this is the Quran is telling you, look, go back to your natural religion. And I feel I've discovered my natural religion, and that's why I accept Islam. Because of this particular reason. Not because somebody convinced me or what. No. I really believe that it's telling us, look, all religions have something in common. If you strip away everything that because religions evolve. If you strip away everything that was added to it by man, if you strip away everything that was corrupted in the religion, you're going to find this core, this nucleus. And this nucleus is inborn, it's innate, it's known directly. And that's a northern star. You can't go wrong. Okay, this is why I accepted Islam. So I think 99% of Muslims won't even get ever that close. But they're happy with what they have. They have this instinctual belief. They're born. That's why if you ever see like people who are theists, you can't convince them otherwise, no matter what you tell them. Because they're in touch with this innate, they're exposed to this innate belief, innate knowledge, not belief. And you can't convince them otherwise. They know that, hey, I can't explain what you're asking me. I don't know about evolution. I don't know about history. I don't know exactly what happened 5,000 years ago, 20,000 years ago, 1 billion years ago. All I know is this one thing. I'm born with it. I can't change my mind. I will never. I'm in direct contact with it. Now, this is not my argument. I'm just saying theists in general who are not researchers. They didn't do 20 years of intensive dive. They didn't go in the rabbit hole. They just know. They already know the answer. They got the same point, but they don't know why. Okay, I'm the type of guy I have to know why. So, but explaining it is very difficult. So you'd have to ask me one question at a time, but explaining it is very, very difficult. Ultimately speaking, if you empty your psyche, if you empty everything you've experienced, you're left still with one experience. And I'll leave you with an Adesanya thought experiment. Adesanya said, look, one of the greatest thinkers of all time, guys. One of the greatest, most influential thinkers of all time. The only reason you don't hear about him is because he was a Muslim guy, but he's literally one of the great geniuses of history. Even Raphael, he painted him, and that famous painting with Plato's walking with Aristotle. Even Raphael had to put him in. He put Adesanya in the painting, where you have all the great philosophers, you have Pythagoras and all. The whole crew, Adesanya is there. Okay, and he's wearing a turban. That's another story for another day. What did Adesanya say? He says, look, think about picture a man hanging in the air. He's not stimulated in any way. He's not touching anything. He's not seeing anything. He's blind. We're taking away all his senses. Everything is dead to him. It's a very important point here. He's not feeling a breeze. He's not feeling sunshine on his skin. We're eliminating all his sensory experiences. We're taking away everything. We're not killing him, but we're taking away everything. All information is being taken away from him. Is there anything left? There's still one experience left. Now, to get here, he had to remove even his concepts. That's the hard part for most people. To remove concepts, such as inside and outside, up and down, before and after. These are things that are byproducts of the mind. And if you could remove them, you'll have this experience. So this is what he was trying to get to. And sometimes I hear philosophers comment on this, and they're so far off. They just don't get it, because they want somebody to do for them, like Aristotle once upon a time did for the Greeks. Aristotle formalized logic, but we have to go beyond that. So it's just really complicated stuff. Ultimately speaking, you have to even drop concepts. Everything that has doubt or is a construct has to be eliminated. And then you have this one final experience. And that's direct experience. It's no longer abduction or deduction or induction. It's no longer, we no longer have to trust your logic. Whose logic do you trust? No great logician was ever infallible. Every single logician eventually made a mistake. Every single logician was eventually corrected on something. That's why even logic we can't trust. We can't trust logic. You know, people always tell me, you know what, I thought of this and I think this and I believe that. Oh, great, it's convincing. In 1,000 years, people will be like, hey, that's really old. Nobody thinks that way anymore, and that's completely been debunked. It's nonsense. That can happen to any thought, except for things we know, not things we deduced, things we know. Okay, guys, I think I have another super chat here. Hopefully, it's an exciting one. Oh, there's a few. Hey, hey, coach, longtime supporter here. July 29th, I'll be fighting for LFA. Check me out on UFC Fight Pass. Much love, brother. That's from Emmanuel Adzoz. Let me see here. Hold on a second. Where's my Siri? Hey, Siri, set me a reminder for July 28th. Watch LFA.
Okay, your reminder is set for July 28th, 2022.
Emmanuel, I will be watching, my friend. LFA, guys. Watch our boy Emmanuel, longtime supporter. He supports me. I'm going to support him. Emmanuel, I look forward to your fight. Hey, coach, do you agree with the top 10 fighters of all time? Number 1, GSP. Of course. Number 2, John Jones. Number 3, guys, I eliminated anybody who didn't pass USADA. Number 3, Aldo. Number 4, Fedor. Number 5, Matt Hughes. Number 6, Anderson. Number 7, Mighty Mouse. Number 8, BJ Penn. Number 9, DC. Number 10, Khabib. Are you crazy? No, dude. No. Guys, I would put Khabib at number 2. He's never had a controversial title fight. He's won them all. He wiped out his competitors. John Jones won his title fights, but there's a few of them that were very debatable. John Jones has lost some rounds. Khabib, I think, has lost like 1 round his entire career. Has he lost more? Maybe 2. I would put Khabib number 2. GSP number 1 because he was champion for so long. He beat 3 generations of fighters. 3 generations. Who else you got? Matt Hughes. Matt Hughes is also incredible. But he beat, how many generations did he beat? Let's see. He beat the Carlos Newton generation. I would say he beat 2 generations. He couldn't beat George. Well, he did beat George. So yeah, he did beat 3 generations, but then lost to George. Matt Hughes is definitely up there. Yeah, Matt Hughes, I agree with you. He's around number 5. Fedor was very special. Guys, there was a time. Guys, here's why Fedor should be higher. I think Fedor is number 3. Higher than Aldo. I'll tell you why. He was in the most volatile division, heavyweight division. Think about this. Think about this for 1 second. If you in the heavyweight division win 3 fights in a row or 4 fights in a row, you're already in arguably the great title fights. You're already, I mean, we're gonna have to say you're the greatest heavyweight of all time. I can't even think who's done that yet. 4 in a row. Miocic did it, maybe. I'm not sure. Okay, let's say you won 5 in a row. At middleweight, that would be really, really good, but it wouldn't guarantee you superstardom. It wouldn't guarantee you, that you're a GOAT. Okay? At bantamweight, at featherweight, it still doesn't guarantee you're the GOAT. At heavyweight, why? Because heavyweight, it's so volatile. 1 punch, it's over. Fedor, in his prime, guys, in his prime. My God, how many heavyweight fights? And he was a small heavyweight. Hold on, let's see here. Fedor, topology. What a streak he had. He had a few bad losses, guys. Again, another guy who stuck around for too long. Let's go back down memory lane, okay? Now, look at this. Look at this. Mark Coleman, Kelvin Randleman, Ogawa, Big Nog, Kosaka, Mirko Filip, Krokop. He beat Krokop, guys, don't forget. Unanimous decision against Krokop. Mowed Krokop down. When Krokop was at his peak, he beat Krokop. And don't forget, Krokop had won the Pride tournament where he beat Vanderlei Silva and Josh Barnett in the same night. One of the greatest performances I've ever seen in my life. Mark Krokop, one of the greatest fighters of all time, won a Grand Prix tournament by beating Vanderlei Silva, which was at his top prime, and Josh Barnett, which was a UFC champion, in the same night. Goes on to fight Fedor and loses. Mark Hunt, Matt Lindland, Hongman Chao, the Giant, Tim Sylvia. Again, Tim Sylvia was UFC champion. Okay, he lost his title. Then he went to fight in Affliction 1, the one-time only show. The Affliction was supposed to be his new promotion. They were always arguing, Tim Sylvia versus Fedor. What if? They did it. The fight lasted 30 seconds. Fedor, again, he beat Andrei Arlovsky. Shinya Aoki, that was just a playful, I'm looking at his topology here. That was just a playful exhibition. That wasn't a win, really. They're putting here as a win. I don't know why. That was just a, Shinya Aoki, guys, like a 45er. That was just a playful thing that they did. He beat Grigard Musashi, again, another, that was actually, I think, grappling, right? I think it was just a grappling match. Because it says armbar, but I don't think they were throwing real leather here because Grigard is much smaller. Brett Rogers, that was a barn burner, but that was like the tail end of his career. Okay. Then he loses 3 fights in a row, comes back to win a whole bunch of fights. But look, at that time, guys, the heavyweight division is so volatile. I would have to say Fedor is third on the list. Okay, guys, did I miss any other super chats here? Let's see. No, I think we're good on super chats. All right, guys, what time is it here? 52 minutes in. All right, we're doing pretty good. Isn't polygamy better in case of protection, not for fulfilling sexual desire? That's from PK. Polygamy oftentimes is practiced when there's a war, guys. In ancient days, men went to war. How many think them died? Let's say 25% died. You come back, 25% of women are single now. They're widowed. What happens to them? You either marry them or they become somebody's girl on the side. There's no way they're going celibate. There's no way, because back then you needed a man to take care of you. Okay? Not like your women today, guys. And I'm giving you a little jab here. You guys' generation, you guys lost control of your women. Guys, no offense here, but like in my generation, my generation also, not me, okay, but my generation, they lost control of their women. They lost their control. You guys as women, man, they talk back to you. They go out, they party, they do all sorts of things. They dismiss you. Oh, my husband said this. Who gives a You guys have lost total control. Back in the day when they had control of their women, they knew the women respected their man. Their women looked up to their men. The women, like, I understand it might have been even extreme, but they had that going for them. That they had their women's respect, I should say. Not that they were extreme. They had their women's respect. Now, why? They fought the wars, they kept the enemies at bay, and they brought home the resources needed to survive. Now, the woman did her part, of course. There was no picnic being a woman. She had to take care of the home, take care of the children, raise children, which is the greatest thing a human being can do. Women are more valuable than men. I personally think women are more valuable than men. I tell my wife all the time, I wish I could live on a planet with just women. Now, I was saying that in the gym one time. I was telling my students, oh, me, I wish one day I could just be on a planet, all women. And then one of my students, he bested me. He said, no, coach. He said, no. Then you'd be sad. I said, why? I said, you would have nobody to converse with. Meaning you can't philosophize with these women. You can't think. You can't get a deep conversation with them. I said, you know what? Okay, fine. Let me adjust my my goals. I said, a planet of women and a small population of men, impotent men, 80 and older. 80 and older must be, okay, let's make it 70 and older. So they can stick around. Become friends with them. But they must be impotent. They must be impotent. Very important. All right, guys. That was just a little bit funny. But, guys, listen. A lot of times, polygamy was very useful in times of war. People had wars. The wars lasted generations. If the women can continue making children, that's more soldiers for the next war. Again, we're being pragmatic here. Today, because of Geneva Convention, there's a lot less wars. Okay, now we're saying it's one woman. It makes sense to me. It makes sense You just need one woman now. You don't need 20. There's 50% by and large throughout the world. By and large, not everywhere in the world, but it's almost a 50-50 split now. Okay, it makes sense. We can cool it on the polygamy. It's not necessary now. But let's say tomorrow, God forbid, there's a huge war. Lots of men go to war. And let's say we lose 25% of the male population. Guess what? Polygamy is going to get popular again. So we have to keep it as a mechanism that we can use when need be. It's also not good to be greedy. If there's 50% men and women and then you're taking up all the women, it's not really good because then there's a lot of single guys out there. Okay, so there's a time and place where polygamy makes sense. It never makes sense the other way, though. It never makes sense the other way. Some people tell me, oh, well, if a man can have multiple wives, a woman should be able to have multiple husbands. That's a really bad idea. It's a really, really bad idea. Okay, think about the logistics here. Imagine a woman having 2 husbands. She gets pregnant. Who's the father? Okay, now you're going to say, okay, DNA test. Yeah, but we didn't evolve on DNA tests. We have my instincts, the man's instincts to have more than one wife. Not to have just one wife and share her. It goes totally against our natural drives. But maybe you're so woke, you can go against your natural drives. Okay, maybe you're so woke. Okay, now when a woman, do you know what happens to a woman when she's pregnant? Do you guys, anybody know? No, you don't know. Most of you don't have pregnant women. Never experienced that. Her sex drive may go up, or most of the time it goes down temporarily. She doesn't feel beautiful. She doesn't feel healthy in her body. Some women, smaller percentage, actually goes higher, way higher. Not all women though. Okay, most women, they have a lull, especially after they give birth. They're not feeling so hot anymore. There's a lot of psychological things going on, a lot of hormonal issues going on that you're going to learn through life as you guys get older and have children. But the man's sex drive never changes. He's still hyperdrive. So you're sharing one woman. Are you crazy? It's insane. It's insanity. Only, guys, don't let women convince you of this. You'll be the cucks of history. You'll be the cucks of history. I'm really disappointed in the way men behave these days. You guys will be the cucks of history. Okay, now, thank God, I'm very grateful that I come from an Arabic culture, and Islam is not like, Islam is still very patriarch. We have a patriarch still. Thank God, I'm grateful for this. Very grateful, because I see some of my good friends that I care for deeply, and I see how they're treated and how their lives are, and I feel sorry for them. I feel like, why do you get kicked around like this? Oh, it's just the way it is. Things are like this, and I'm like, well, you should talk. You should draw the line somewhere. No, here are the women that are really strongly backed up by the government. You gotta whisper when you talk to you. It's like, wow, man, what a world. What a world, guys. And I know a lot of you guys are in that situation. I'm not looking down on you. I know that you guys were raised like that, and your society is pushing you to be like that. But be careful. Don't go too far like this, and don't do anything rash. Always use the noodle. It's always, obviously, never violence, never force. But place your pieces on the chessboard in a way that you have control or advantage. And I'll tell you guys this, as a man who's seen a lot of his friends get divorced, women love a man who does that. This is my opinion. I know it's going to be a little bit controversial, but women love a man who's smart enough, brave enough. These are all battlefield characteristics, so that's why the woman loves them. Secretly, though. She loves them secretly. That you're brave enough, smart enough, kind enough, intelligent enough to move your pieces on the pieces of life, the chessboard of life, that you maintain control or upper hand to a certain degree. But you're still kind enough, friendly enough, sweet enough to be generous. That's what a woman wants. She doesn't want a guy who's generous because he's weak. And she doesn't want a guy who's too dumb to handle his business. Okay, now I'm saying this out of love here, guys. I'm saying this out of, take this a big brotherly advice here, because I've seen a lot of things on the internet, which I'm thinking the women in the West have completely run amok. It's sad, actually. It's really, really sad. It's just out of control almost. And I always I always convince my students, try not to get married. Be very careful. Marry foreign women. Be very careful here. For us, you missed us a couple of super chats. Did I? Let me see here. Don't kill me for this, but is concubinage possible in this day and age? Why was concubinage okay? Wasn't slavery outlawed from the start in Islam? I feel the excuse the world wasn't ready is not a good one. That's from PK. Look, guys, that's a whole different story. Islamic slavery is completely different than Western slavery. Transatlantic slavery has nothing to do with Islam. Islam, there's only one way to become a slave, and that's POW, prisoner of war. We were in a war. You were trying to kill me. I captured you. What should I do? Back then, there was no prisons. Either I slit your throat or you're my captive. I think a captive is a better word. There's only one way in Islam to be slave. Now, the slaves in Islam can also always, at all times, pay off their value. So, for instance, they could say, look, I want to work off my value. I'm worth this on the marketplace. And you have to accept, I'm working my value off, so we're fair to the owner. Because don't forget, guys, what do you mean fair to the owner, coach? Let me explain before you jump to conclusions. Keep your mind cool. Okay. When you went to war, it was volunteer work. Okay, now today you have a paid soldier. This wouldn't make sense today. Remember, Islam is about being just. Okay, so if you went to war, how do we pay you? You're a soldier. How do we pay you? Well, the spoils. If you bring a horse, you get more spoils because you risk your animal. And the animal, you have to feed him. You have to water him. You have to take care of him. All his needs, it's on you. You're the owner. You're bringing him to the war. You're taking the risk. If you bring a wagon, you brought risk. That wagon could be destroyed. So it's all about being fair. The system's all about being fair. Okay, now, these people were fighting, they brought us out here. We're supposed to be picking crops. They cost us. We're going to starve to death. Well, we're going to have to make it fair. It's all about making it fair. Now, what we see as fair today is completely different what they saw as fair. They were doing what they thought was fair. Okay, now, I should say what they thought was fair. What was fair at that time? It made sense. Should I slit your throat and kill you because I captured you? No. We can ransom you. That way you won't come again. You won't fight us again. Or two, we can keep you captive because we're scared you're going to come back next year. And also, don't ever forget, most Muslims, especially the early Muslims, were slaves. They converted to Islam. Why? They love their captors. They're like, hey, we get to eat the same food as you. You treat us as good as you. You give us all these human rights. Don't forget, in Islam, actually, if you have a captive, he has to eat the same food as you or better. He can't eat worse. Think about that. So you have all sorts in the history of Islam. You have like slaves like pushing back food. Why? Because they're shy that they're eating meat, which is a luxury. And the captor is not eating meat. He's eating whatever's left, the dates. Because they wanted to treat their captors good. Now, this is not, I don't want to make this sound like this is always the case in Islam. No. Unfortunately, later generations, not the early Muslims, but the later generations, they were very violent towards slaves. And they did things that are completely haram or wrong in Islam, okay? So I'm not saying we have a clean record at all. Till this day, I will tell you, the peninsula is still like, despite of Islam, like they do so many bad things that are completely contrary to Islam, okay? But again, this is a completely different topic. You asked me about concubinage. Concubinage, in my opinion, is still relative today. It still makes sense. Why? Look at the West. You can't have two wives, but you can have a girlfriend. You can be married and have unlimited girlfriends. It's not illegal. Like my wife can't take me to court because I have a girlfriend. She can't do anything to me because I have a girlfriend. She could divorce me. It's irrelevant, though. The court doesn't even care that I have a girlfriend. That's irrelevant to them. At least it is here where I live. Why not make her a concubine? Why? Because here's the thing, okay? This is the way I see it. Why would she be a concubine? Because when she's a concubine, she's known publicly. We know who's concubine. She's not somebody else. She can be one man's concubine. One. If she gets pregnant, we know whose child that is. That child has every right. Okay, so think about this, okay? In Canada, single mothers cost us billions in taxpayer dollars. Why? She has a son. She doesn't know who the father is. Why? She slept with this guy. She slept with that guy. Now, I got to pay for that kid. Yeah, that kid needs shoes. He needs books for school. He needs to go to take the bus. And who's going to fit the bill? She doesn't have money. State takes money from us, gives it to her. When you have kids in this country, they give you a check. Who's the father? We don't have the name. Why not? She doesn't know who it is. Nobody will admit to it. It's $1 billion industry. Okay, single motherhood is $1 billion. It costs us a fortune. So imagine we were to tell women, no. You have to find out who the father is. Like go through all the names and let's test them all. And guys would run for their lives. It would cost us so much. I don't know how they worked it out. They must have worked it out that, hey, it's the manpower we would need to do this. They would probably have to, there's so many women that get pregnant. The abortion rates are another topic, but there are so many women out there that get married. They get pregnant out of wedlock. Their single motherhood is on the rise. They would probably need a giant, like they would probably need a police force to probably figure out, who's the father of who. It would probably be very complicated. And then to force people to give up their DNA so we could test them probably be a huge hurdle. Huge. Because women don't even know who the father of their children are. Think about that. It's really insane. Really, really insane. Coach, you skipped my super chat. Okay, let's see here. Share some more relationship advice for us young men. Coach, that's from Joe. Joe, I would tell you, look, number one, be mentally strong. Confidence. Very important. Confidence. You hearing me? Confidence. 2, competence. Now, confidence comes after competence. I put confidence first because I know it's going to ring in your ears. Develop competence in everything you do. Guys, you have to be a good leader. That means you have to read books. You can't make it up all on your own. You got to figure things out. You got to read books. It's so important. You can't be the head of a household and your head is empty. This is not. Imagine being led by somebody who's ignorant. You'd hate it. You would hate it. You have to be led by somebody, and every man is the leader of his home, or every man should be the leader of his home. Every man should be. Every woman, let me tell you guys something, and I dare anybody out there to say I'm wrong. I dare anybody. Every woman secretly wants her man to be a leader. Every single woman. Not 99% of them. Not 99.9. I'm telling you 100%. 100%. I wish I could say 101, but I don't want you guys to think I'm exaggerating. No, I mean literally the number 100%. They all want their men to be leaders. Now, would you want to be led by somebody incompetent? No, you should know everything. So you have to be a learned, studied man. You have to be a competent man in all fields, but be an expert in your field. Whatever field you're in, that you should be an expert, but you should know a lot about other things. A lot about everything, actually. Okay? Not a little bit about everything. A lot about everything. The other thing I would say is keep your body fit. Keep your body very, very fit. Okay? You read between the lines here. I'm talking about everything from head to toe. You know what I'm talking about. Everything. The vital energies, keep it fit. The way you eat, the way you exercise. Everything has to be fit. Guys, I'm 42 and my body functions like when I was 20. My body functions because I eat like that and I sleep and I train and I do everything. I learn so much about the body. Every day I study about how the body stays healthy, how the body stays strong, keep the body fully functional. This is very important because, again, when your body's fully functional and you're competent, guess what? You have lots of confidence. It's very important. You could see a guy has certain flaws, but he has the confidence. Women will love him. Okay? But confidence can't be fake. Fake confidence is the most repulsive thing to a woman. It's actually the most repulsive. A guy who's faking it. Don't try to fake it. A lot of gurus out there are going to try to tell you, fake it, fake it, fake it. I'm telling you the opposite. I'm telling you, work hard, work real hard. Keep your body fit. Keep your mind strong. And learn. Learning is so important. Be a competent human being. So important. I hope that helps. Coach, every time I get into a basketball game, I get intense anxiety. I'm ready and good and planning to go pro, but the anxiety is crippling. I can roll in BJJ and spar with no pro worries. Advice for anxiety. PK, you're on a roll today. I think it's a PK show today. Guys, anxiety. Listen carefully to what I'm about to tell you. You got to learn to love the pain. Oh, it's game day? I love game day. Oh, the butterflies? I love the butterflies. Oh, I have a really challenging team game today? I love a challenge. You got to change the song playing in your head. Oh, this is going to hurt? I'm really, really tired? I love being tired. Famously, once upon a time, Joy, when he fought in UFC, he fought in Thiago Alves, and he pulled his groin in round 1. We were in the back warming up, UFC 100. And they told us, like, oh, we got 30 minutes. And then they changed it. No, it's 15 minutes. So we're like, what? They took away 15 minutes. And guys, we were warming up like clockwork, because he had like obligations to do and like everything, your hands have to be wrapped. So we organized it perfectly. And then they took 15 minutes away from us. They're like, something happened. I don't know what it was about the production. It was the first time and last time it ever happened. UFC, guys, I'll tell you something. UFC is super clockwork. Like they're so professional. They're the most professional company I've ever worked with. So everything's perfect. They take us from the airport. They book our flights, tests, medical tests, till the fight, bring us back home. Like everything is so perfect. They have an army of people running the show. Like it's such a great orchestra. This one day, UFC 100, I don't know what it was, but we had lost like 15 minutes from what I remember. Maybe it was 10, maybe it was 30 minutes. I can't remember, but we were warming up in a rush. And George went out there and not fully warmed up. What happened? He pulled his groin in round one. Now, he said that to Greg Jackson. He's like, Coach, I pulled my groin. Now, Greg, a lot of people think I said this. No, but Greg said something that a lot of you hardcore fans will remember. He said, I don't care. Hit him with your groin. Now, how do you hit a man with your groin? I'll leave that to your imagination. So what happens next? Everybody thought I was the one who said that, even though, of course, I was in the corner, but I'm not the one who said it, but people always associate me with my voice, that I'm the guy in the corner. It wasn't me that said that, even though I wish I was the guy who said that. Greg has a formula. If his fighter says, I hurt my hand, Greg tells him, hit him with your hand. If you hurt your foot, hit him with your foot. Like, that's just his automatic reply, meaning like, don't worry about it, just ignore it. Like, just fight through the pain. That's just his way of dealing with that particular situation that arrives all the time. Now, I agree with the sentence. Obviously, you shouldn't tell your fighter, hit him with the groin. You guys get it, right? It was just a formula that he uses. He didn't think about it. He punched it in at the wrong time. Like, it can't be used for every body part. Now, but I get the sentiment. He's right. Like, you got to build your psyche. And there's a lot of things you can do, guys. One day I'm going to do a video on this. Okay, I'm going to do psychology of breathing probably. And we're going to go deep in how to overcome fears, anxiety. But guys, guess what? I don't care how good you are. I don't care if you're a mental black belt. Fear and anxiety will always be there. You got to learn to love it. Think about times where you're bored. You have nothing to do. You know, sometimes I skip a day of practice and I stay home and I think like, oh, this is going to be the greatest night. Like I was telling my wife today, I was like, get ready. I'm taking the evening. Tomorrow I have a flight, so I can't go to the gym tonight. I was not able to go to the gym tonight. I taught in the day. I gave 2 practices. Usually I go in for a 3rd practice to teach, and I didn't go into practice. Why? Because I have an early flight tomorrow. I have a flight. I have to pack. I have a few things to take care of before I leave. So I was like telling my wife, get psyched up, get psyched. Your husband's staying home this evening. Like, you know, but truly, it's fun. Of course, I love to stay home, hang out with my wife and kids, etc. But truly, if I had to do that every day, it would be really boring. Like, think about that. You have such a gift. You get to go and compete in a basketball game. That's how you have to view it. You got to change your paradigm, the way you look at things. It's so much fun to go out there and compete. It's so much fun to be under the lights, to have all the ups and downs of the game. It's so much fun. You're looking at it all wrong, because if you didn't have the game, if you're sitting at home watching reruns, eating fried chicken and watching TV, and that gets boring quick, guys. It's better to be out there and have your adventures. You guys are young. Your bodies are strong. Now is the time to put the stress on your body. You'll look back and you'll be like, those were the funnest days of my life. Okay, so now that you guys are strong and young, go out there. Have your experiences. Yeah, you can have a few tumbles here and there, but keep getting up. Dust it off. Get on it again. That's how you live your life. Have these adventures. Start seeing them as that. This is just another adventure. Very important paradigm, I think. Learn to love the pain, guys. Learn to love these days. Paradigm shift. Yes, PK, that's correct. Yeah, you know what? It's one of the things I get the most of. Like, people tell me they suffer from mental anxiety. Guys, all of us. I don't care who you are. All the top pros. I've trained with so many world champions, and they all suffer from bad days. Sometimes they're down. Sometimes they're anxious. They're nervous. They get nervous. Believe it. St. Pierre was one of the most nervous fighters I've ever trained. One of the most nervous guys I've ever trained, guys. He was super nervous. But here's the thing. I love how Castamara used to say it. He goes, the hero and the coward, they feel the same fear. I know many of you guys might have heard this, but a lot of you haven't, because Castamara's Mike Tyson's old former trainer. And this was popular. It was a popular saying when I was a kid, but maybe not so popular these days. It's kind of been lost. He said, look, the hero and the coward, they feel the same fear. It's how they behave. It's different. Now, I'll tell you something. I feel fear all the time. Like, guys, I'll tell you something. I suffer greatly. And I never knew phobias existed. I heard about it. I understood it. I believed it was true, but I didn't know it like a way I know it when I developed my own phobia. I developed a phobia of flying. Guys, I'm so embarrassed of this. I was so embarrassed. At first, I wouldn't talk about it. Like, I was so embarrassed of being... Like, think about it. You're scared to go on a plane. Like, little children go on a plane. You're scared. Like, it was so bad. Like, now I'm open about it. I talk about it because I realize that, you could be scared of the most illogical thing. Somebody out there today is scared of, I don't know, mice. But, I think about it. An elephant is scared of a mouse. An elephant could just squish a mouse. An elephant could strike a mouse down with a single touch. There's nothing a mouse can do to an elephant. Maybe I heard... Actually, somebody was telling me, one of my sons was telling me they go up their snout. I have to look that up. And I remember looking it up and I was like, that can't be. And it's true. And maybe that's why they fear them. But whatever the case may be, okay? Fears can be incredibly irrational. But here's what. No matter how rational you are, they're still there. The fear's still there. Now, even though I felt that fear, I still got on the plane all the time. Even though I felt immense fear. Guys, you got to accept that you're going to feel the fear. But don't let it change the way you behave. Now, here's the thing. This is where I always like to say, I'll give you guys a small taste of a future work I want to do. Fear, the natural response they tell us is fight or flight. Okay. Actually, the original term is fight, flight, or freeze. They shortened it later to fight or flight. But think about it. Sometimes it's appropriate to freeze if a snake is crawling across your path, slithering across your path. Maybe it's better you freeze because they feel the vibrations in the ground. And that's how they know where you are. Let it go on its merry way and then bolt in the opposite direction. Maybe that's the right response. Maybe it's appropriate to fight. Maybe you get attacked by a wild dog and giving him a good kick will get him off you. Maybe it's appropriate to run. You're being chased by an animal. And maybe if you run and jump off a cliff and dive into a river, you might get away from him. These are the 3 instinctive responses. Now, in fight day and competition, what we don't want is freeze. Now, we've seen it. We've seen fighters get in there and freeze. They don't throw any punches. They barely move. They barely do anything. What happened to you? I think you froze. I've seen it many times. That's why sometimes when a fighter does that, sometimes I slap them in the ring, in the octagon, between rounds. I slap them just to snap them out of it. Hey, you're fighting here. Not freezing. We're fighting. So what I want to do is, I always tell people, if you feel a lot of fear, believe that this really works. It's going to sound a little bit weird. You have to move. Go hit the heavy bag. Go shadow box. Go run. Hit the airdyne. Whatever it is. Exercise. Get the body moving. Why? I always tell people, look, you always want fear to equate to moving. Now, I had a problem because in a plane, you can't move. So I have to deal with it another way. But for most of you out there, if you're feeling anxiety, go work out. Go work out. Anxiety will go down. You'll feel better. And then your mind will be clear. You could start thinking. It's hard to think and answer your life's problems when you're fully anxious. People who are anxious make mistakes. They do worse on test scores. You have to have a clear mind. Let your anxiety go down. How do you do that? Spend that energy. Think about it. Your body's scared. It perceives a threat. It gives you energy. Spend it. If you sit there and you don't spend it, now the energy feels like torture. Fear is a type of energy. If you're really scared and I let you run around the block 3 times, you're going to feel a lot better. I don't care what's chasing you. You're going to feel a lot better. You're going to physically feel a lot better. Exercise is one of the most important things you can do when you have fear. Okay, now, that's one solution. Here's another solution. Because there are different things that make you scared. This one might be better. Do something about whatever you're scared of. Let's say, for instance, you're scared of, I don't know. Give me something somebody's scared of. I don't know. You're scared of dogs. Okay. Start reading up on dogs. Why do dogs bite? How do they bite? Figure it out. Go speak to an expert dog trainer. How often does it happen? Get informed. Do something about your fear. Do something about whatever it is you're worried about. Let's say, for instance, you're worried about getting fired. Sometimes people tell me, I don't know how much my boss likes me. Oh, yeah? Do something about it. Schedule with your boss. Ask him what he thinks about you. Like, confront your fear. Whatever scares you, confront it. Or start job hunting. Do something about it. Do something physically about it. Strategize against it. You might find out, hey, There's 2 other people that want me to work for them, and I never knew that that guy would be interested in having me as a job. You know what? I like that job better. I don't even want to work here anymore. Or maybe you fall into starting your own business. All of a sudden, you're like, hey, I can't believe I used to think that job was super important. I'm so happy I'm rid of that job. Do something about it. Physically, do something about it. Get up and do something about it. Maybe, I don't know, you're, I don't know, whatever fear you may have. I don't know. Give me a fear. I don't know. Anything. Somebody give me out something out there. Bridges. Okay, you're scared of bridges. I had that fear also. Cross that bridge every day. Do something about it. Go out there. Go on a walk across the bridge. Some of them have sidewalks. Go on a tiny little bridge, then a bigger bridge. Then take your bike across. Then take your car across and cross that bridge every day. Slowly, you'll become desensitized to the fear and you'll laugh about it. I used to be a little bit scared of going on bridges. Now I laugh about it. I find it ridiculous. Why? Because my fear of flying was translating. It started becoming a fear of bridges. And I completely, every day, will cross a bridge on purpose. Scale it down. If you can't cross the bridge, just go near the bridge. Just go look at the bridge. Learn how bridges are built. Why are they safe? How often do they crumble? When was the last time a bridge got crumbled? Start arguing against your fear like if you were a lawyer in court. Put your fear on the witness stand and cross-examine him and argue why the fear is ridiculous, nonsensical, and absurd. Terry, Anthony, you know me well. Yes, you do. You know me very well. Okay, guys. Missed another super chat, it says here. I missed my super chat very far back. Jordan Kamal. Okay, guys, I'm on the hunt for Jordan Kamal's. Okay, Amir. I'll come right back to you. I'm looking for Jordan here. Jordan. Oh my God, how many super chats did I miss? Oh my goodness. This is. Oh man, look at this. Okay, Jordan Kamal, I found your super chat, my friend. Your super chat has been recouped. $10? Wow, you are generous, man. How could I miss this? Hey, coach, at some point in the future, I'd like to be a father, but prospects is terrifying. How will I know when I'm ready? When did you know when you were ready? That's from Jordan. Jordan, mashallah. Jordan wants to know the pleasures of a father. Let me tell you the pleasures of a father today. Okay, let me tell you what I experienced today. My young daughter was sleeping in our bed, me and my wife's bed. And she wakes me up in the morning to kiss me goodbye before she goes to her day camp. And she tells me, Papa, say yes, baby, says to me, I want you to promise me you'll have a wonderful day. I was like, wow. I was telling my wife after today when she came back from work, I said, that's how a woman treats her man. What a sweet, incredible child. She's telling her papa, she wants me to promise her that I'm going to have a wonderful day while she's at camp because she's going to have a lot of fun at camp. She's not going to see me all day. What an incredible thing. Now, why am I saying this? Because I'll tell you guys something. The greatest human experience in this world you can have is to have a successful relationship with your wife and then a successful family. There's nobody who ever had a successful family, successful relationship and family, and then said, you know what, I would have traded that for a movie career or a music career or a professional athletic career. Nobody ever said that. That is the greatest thing you can do. Everything else is secondary. Us, the way we see the world is God is first and then family. Super important family. That's why when you come to us with LGBT, we're like, hey, whoa, that's on your side of the fence, not our side. Our side is progeny. There was never two men that made a child. There was never two women that made a child. Okay? We need a man and a woman. And then we can have this miraculous thing we love to call family. And we love it. And we protect it till the end. We do everything we do to help the family. Why? We find that's the greatest joy. Your greatest joy is man-on-man rectal penetration. That's your business. That's your business. For you, that's the most important thing. That's the number one son of bonum. Okay, now they're going to tell me, no, but it's not that. It's love. Okay, fine. That's your thing. But me, I can't love my wife unless I have a kid. Like if I didn't have kids with my wife, I would have left her. Why? That's how I am. I'm a man. Okay, I would love my wife. Yeah, she's a great girl, but there's other women in the world. There's other women in the world, guys. I hate to break it to you. There's other women in the world, and I know you guys like to read a lot of storybooks and all that. But no, men, we're going to find another woman. There's another and another and another and a younger one. I'll take But no, you have a wife, you have children. Now we've reached another level. Now the woman, she's become a wife. It's totally different. She's become mother of your children. This is a whole different category of person you have in your life now. Now we're reaching like the value is so high. Her value is so high, I can't leave her. Can't just dismiss her and take another one. Not that I would just dismiss her, but things would run its course. And how things can run its course, let's just say. But if you have children, it can hold you together. There's more important things, bigger picture. This is a far greater experience than anything else out there. So I commend you for understanding that. However, you're right. The prospects are terrifying. But here's the reason why women are so hard to marry these days. I blame the men. I don't blame the women. I think all these MGTOW guys, men going their own way, blaming women. Women are like this. Women are like that. Guys, women treat men how men taught them to treat men. Let me say that a little more simply. We taught women how to treat us. You men out there taught these women to behave this way. You indoctrinated. You taught them this. I might get a lot of heat for this, but guys, men did this to themselves. Men did this to themselves. Women will treat you how you... Actually, this is true for all people. Even a woman, her husband will treat her how she accepts to be treated. You teach people how they treat you. That goes for women and men, I should say. But now that you're talking about women, I'm kind of flipping the script here in one direction. I would tell you, like I tell most of my students, try to find, there's a few gems in the West still, like there's a few traditional women still, see what kind of family she come from. That's one. How does she behave? How is she? She okay, guys, I know everybody in the West, they love looks. Looks are important, absolutely. But good manners. Is your woman well-mannered? I think that's very important. Like, if my woman is not well-mannered, I don't want her. I don't care what she looks like. Like, for me, a good-looking girl is not enough. It's not enough. She has to be attractive to me. Beauty is relative. She has to be attractive to me. But she has to have an incredible character. Well-mannered. Speaks well. Gentle. Kind. Friendly. And yes, she does what I ask her to do. Like, if I ask her to do something, she'll do it. She accepts that I'm her husband, I'm her man. And if I like something, it's good. And if I don't like something, no, she shouldn't do this. That's it. If she doesn't accept this, man, she's not for me. She's someone else, for someone else. This, guys, I don't think you should compromise on. But you should be flexible. Like, be reasonable. Look at your society. What is considered normal? And because I think we're in a not so healthy society in terms of relationships, you should be able to say, look, I don't accept these certain things. I find they're ills in society. Like, for instance, women going out partying and getting drunk. I think this is really bad. In my opinion, like, I see friends of mine. And I don't want to judge, okay? I know because a lot of people are not going to be happy with me saying this. But, oh, yeah, my wife went out and she drinks and she parties and she comes back in the middle of the night. I find that's crazy. I just find that's crazy, But I used to work as a security guard, so I can tell you I've seen a lot of things. I think that's insane. If you're a married woman, you shouldn't be out drinking. Now, a lot of you are going to think, Coach, you're so primitive. I think you're crazy. You think I'm crazy? I think you're crazy. But here's the thing. You're going to live your life and you're going to live your consequences. I'm going to live my life and live my consequences. If tomorrow my wife tells me, oh, well, I missed out on the drinking, I'm going to go do it now. I would just get remarried. It wouldn't be long. However, I don't foresee that happening, but you're going to have to live your consequences. What they may be, I don't know. We'll see. But personally, I'd rather not be married if that's the case. Now, in the West, if you're getting married, Mr. Jordan, the women are going to tell you that. Oh, well, it's girls' night out. I want to go out. Among other things, among other ills, which I don't want to talk about too much. I'm going to get myself in trouble. But I think you should go to different countries where they're more traditional. Like right now, I don't know. I don't want to name countries. I don't want to exclude countries, but there are some traditional countries still left. Okay. And if you're going to build a family, if you're going to build a family, you need a very good woman, guys. Picking the woman is so important. It's so important. Guys, one of my biggest nightmares as a father is that my daughter, picks the wrong guy. I'm already training her to pick the right guy. I'm already training her. how she should be treated. I treat my daughter like a queen. I treat her so good. Why? Because when she gets older, she'll be like, hey, I need to find a guy. Instinctually, she's going to want to find a guy like her father. So it's instinctual. Okay. Like, I'm her first male role model, her first, child love, you should say, obviously kids don't know anything about physical whatnot, but just relationship wise, I'm her first male relationship. I'm embedding in her mind how important she has to be in somebody's life for her to marry that person. Like, that person is going to have to, she demands attention. Like, if I don't do everything for her, like, it's something's wrong. Like, hey, what's going on with you? And I'm like, oh, sorry. Like, anything I do wrong, my daughter calls me out on it. So, like, I'm training her already. I'm training her already because my great fear is my daughter picks the wrong guy. It's one of my great fears. And for my sons, my great fear is that they get the wrong girl pregnant. Oh, God, man. That would devastate me. That they get the wrong girl. One, they marry the wrong girl. But even marriage, you can always get divorced. You can fix that. If you get the wrong girl pregnant, now you're family with her. You're family. So it's not so easy to reverse. Okay? So I would tell you, Jordan, visit foreign countries. I would even I don't know, and I've never done internet stuff, but I think it's possible. I think there must be sites for this. Like, if you go to, I don't know, find a Filipino wife or a Thai wife or Ukraine, they're still quite religious in certain circles. Depends where you go. Like, they have these traditional religious values where they're conservative. They're more conservative. Don't marry, in my opinion, guys. This is just my opinion. Please, I know a lot of you guys out there are not going to like what I'm saying. But just be careful. Don't marry somebody who you're going to 4 or 5 years down the line regret. Because, guys, here's the thing. When you're young and up and coming, okay, your power's here. Okay, you're with your wife. Your power's here. When she has your kids, the power starts to shift. Why? Because you're attached to those kids. But those kids belong to her. Don't ever mistake this, guys. Don't ever mistake this. They came out of her body. The kids are always more, they're always closer to the mother, especially at a young age. Generally speaking. Generally. I know there's a lot of fathers out there that, they're the housewife, or, they're at home and the mother's at work. So the fathers are closer to them. Okay, I get it. But by and large, traditionally, the woman carries them, spends more time with them, and generally the man is at work. Generally, okay? I know a lot of you guys flip the script, which I don't think makes sense. But anyway, that's another story for another day. The woman starts to have a lot of power. Why? Emotional power. Hey, have your kids now. You can't just leave me. I could just leave you. I could take your kids from you. So there's that dynamic. She has to have you have to trust her that she was well raised. She has a good good manners. She's a good person. It's super important. But lost on people today. Because today people only care about looks. They only care about looks. Oh, if she's good looking, okay, I'll withstand the torture. That's too easy. It's really too easy. The Western societies become so superficial, and they pay for it. They pay. Because a good-looking woman, she thinks she can get away with anything. She thinks she can get away with it. She could say or act out the way she wants. No, you got to put her in line. No. It's not. Doesn't matter you're good-looking. You still have to show everybody respect. You still have to be kind to everybody. And if you're not kind, you're ugly. You're unattractive. This is what the West has to rediscover. If somebody is crude, here in the West, people spit on you. Oh, we love you. You look at superstars. I don't want to name names. They act like complete morons. They act like buffoons. And people praise them. She's good looking. She's famous. And she says something rude or vile or disgusting. Oh, yeah, we're cool. We'll follow her. Those people you put up at a pedestal, they look down on you. They think you're such filth. You're dirt. You know why they think you're dirt? Because you let me act like this and you're still kissing my feet, you're still licking my boots, you're still praising me. Wow, what can I get away with? I can get away with anything. They look at you as so small. They look at you as so worthless. Think about it. You're not on their level. You think you think it's worth following them on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or me. I don't follow any of these people. What a waste of time. But people on the internet, they say the lewdest, crudest, the most disgusting things, and they get more followers. So they say to themselves, "Oh, people love this behavior. I'm going to behave more like this. And then they think, what kind of people would follow a guy like me? That's how they think secretly. I've hung out with a lot of these, internet sensations. And a lot of times they're not like that in person. Like, for instance, like Chael Sonnen's a particular way in person. Very particular. Like, I've heard the same thing about Kobe. He's very particular. He's like a different guy off camera. I don't know him personally. I'm talking from experience. I know many fighters. I don't want to name their names, but some guys, they have a certain persona on TV. And then when they get off camera, they're completely different. And they know what they're doing, guys. These guys are not dumb. But then when they look at their followers and look at these people, in their mind, I'll tell you a very common phenomenon. A superstar will go out, see a girl, the girl throw herself at him. He'll be nice to her. He'll gets what he wants from her. And then he'll think, oh, this girl's the dumbest girl ever. She's completely dumb. She, George Costanza, I was watching Seinfeld. He said it best. He takes a girl out on a date and he finally tells her he loves her. And the girl's like, yeah, I know, I heard you. Like, she totally dismisses his I love you. And he's like, I'm ruined. And he's talking to Jerry. I love Seinfeld, by the way. He's like, nobody wants to be with somebody that loves them. Nobody wants to be with somebody that loves them. It was funny. It's a comedy, but in a way, it's true. Nobody wants to be with somebody who thinks they're so beneath you that they'll let you step all over them. You're telling me when you let somebody step all over you, when you let somebody behave in a horrific manner, you're telling them, look, you're so above me, I'm so below you that you could treat me like dirt and I'll accept it. You're telling them what you're worth. You're telling them indirectly, look, I'm worth so little that I won't call you on your BS. I won't call you on your bad behaviors. This is, I think, a major issue in society today. Like me, when I see these guys do, like, oh man, I can't stand like the jackass stuff. Oh, jackass. Oh, it's so hilarious. Man, I find it gross. I can't believe these guys are so popular. Oh, let's take this shopping cart and throw it. Like, how dumb is this stuff? Like, this is so dumb. I know. We could tell a lot by what entertains us. This is entertaining to you? Like, I get it. This guy's goofing off. I get it. I get you could be a really sophisticated person and still laugh at jackass. I get it. Just for me, it's like toilet humor. For me, I get that I get that you could be. It doesn't mean because you like jackass you're unsophisticated. No, I understand that. I can understand that point. It's just for me. I don't know. I just find it too low on the scale. Okay, here we go. Bill Blonde would like to really know what you think of Tan Lee's run in one and how he do in UFC. That's from Dave L. Guys, I've trained with Tan Lee many, many times for a very long time. He's a phenomenal fighter. I think he would do amazing in UFC. And I'm sure he'd work his way to a title fight. He's a brilliant fighter and he's a legitimate world champion. I absolutely love Tan Lee and I hope to see him back in there shortly. I love to watch him fight. PK, message deleted. Okay. What else we got here? Share more relationship advice. Did that already. What else we got here? Okay. PK. What rules do you have for your wife, coach? Ask with respect and humility. That's from Mike Goodwin. Guys, I don't have to put rules on my wife. She's naturally, I just like my wife to be conservative. Like I don't like my wife to dress, modest. I like her to dress modest. I like her to stay in the family, all the friends she has and friends, we all know each other. There's no... And, guys, every man wants his wife to have eyes for him only. Every single man. And if you say no, you're a liar. You're a liar. What did they do to you when you were a child? You're a liar. When a woman really loves you, she has eyes only for you. Don't you dare ever forget this. When a woman loves you, she has only eyes for you. Let me tell you, we talk about Schopenhauer. We've talked about it in the past. Remember how women are built physically. Women have such scarce ability to procreate life. Men, you can inseminate a woman every single day of your life. Literally, you can get a woman pregnant every single day. More than one woman, actually. If she's ovulating, of course. Women only have a certain few eggs that they can provide for birth. And they go through a major consequence. When they get pregnant, it's a major issue. From her physical appearance, her psychological or her hormonal health, her life is in danger. Women can die during childbirth. Now we have modern medicine, of course, but don't forget, I'm talking about their instincts were evolved throughout the years. We've evolved this way to behave. Be very careful. You only get one shot this month. Be selective. Women have to be selective. Men don't have to really be selective. Think about it. Look at abortions, for instance. Such a popular topic. When a woman gets pregnant, she has to fight. She fights for her right to have an abortion. Why? The guy got her pregnant. What's it to him? He's going to change town. He's going to miss a few calls. When she calls him, he's going to disappear. The girl can't just disappear. She has a mouth to feed. She has a baby. She has stretch marks. She has hormonal issues. No, get this baby out of me. I want to be just as sexually free as the man. And the men, like dummies, are like, oh yeah, let's give her. Now women are going to behave a certain way. Women now are not going to be so selective. The woman that could have been your wife, now she's thinking, hey, I don't have to be selective. I could just get, even if I get pregnant, there's still abortion. Think about this. When Gregory Pincus, I always spit when I hear that man's name. Gregory Pincus, the inventor. That was a joke, by the way. The inventor of the pill. Gregory Pincus, the man who invented the pill. Why was that that was a massive innovation. Now women are far more sexually liberated. Before the pill, guys, they were ultra scared of getting pregnant. If you got pregnant, we knew you had extramarital sex, you were shamed. Not like today, a girl can tell you she slept with 5 men on one weekend and nobody shames her. No. Back in the day, guys, in the 60s, the 70s, the 50s, if you had extramarital sex, even if you didn't get pregnant, if we knew you had extramarital sex, everybody would shame you. If you got pregnant, that was 100% proof you did it. So when women got the pill, they're like, hey, wait a second. We can have extramarital sex and we won't get pregnant. We don't have to worry about pregnancy. Then you empowered them. Now they can, hey, let's be more promiscuous. Then they got abortion even. You can even if the pill doesn't work or you forget the pill or whatnot, you can also fall back on abortion. What happened? The woman gets even more sexually powerful. The more you liberate them, the more they behave like men. I shouldn't use the word liberate, but you understand what I mean. The more you empower them, the more they behave like men. Now, instead of supporting their men, they're competing with their men. The women now today, they compete with us in the West. They want to be exactly how men are. They want to make more money than us. They want to be more educated than us. They're our competitors. Whereas the old school model, traditional model, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s even, the woman supported her man. No, I'm behind you. You're the head of the family. You go out there and you get those resources. You come back home and you share them with us. And I'll take care of this part. And it was complementary. Now you come home, your life's like, hey, when you come home now, your woman almost, she's counting. Like I remember when my wife, she got promoted as a vice principal. When she went up in the world, and I was happy for her, of course. But my trainer, God rest his soul, Peter Sisson-Fu, he told me, oh no, he was so worried. I was he's like, Fila, my Thai trainer, the one who recently passed. He was so upset, man. He was like, I was like laughing. Like, why are you so upset, man? Like, why does she want to be the boss? Why? Again, my trainer, guys, not an educated man, a Thai fighter his entire life, but had such incredible instincts. And I was like, you know what? Let me look it up. I looked it up. 80% of married couples get divorced when the woman makes more money than the man. 80%. Now, I have to verify that, but that's what I'm doing from memory. It was high. It was really high. It shocked me. Now, again, guys, I couldn't care less. Not that she's making more money than me. She's not. But if she was, it wouldn't bother me. But I don't know why he would think she's making, in his mind, it's not like she's making millions or anything like that. She has a good job, but not like, And in his mind, he's like, oh, wait, is it just the possibility bothered him. Just the possibility. And even on his deathbed, like I was filming some videos, he was making messages to everybody, and he was like, he made a video for my wife. He's such a sweet soul. He's basically telling her, look, don't ever disobey your husband. Do exactly what you like. And I get what he's trying to do, because in Thailand, where he's from, the woman obeys her man. And okay, in this world, it's different. We live in the West here. Here it's like, sweetie, would you like, can I beg you for something? Like, you have to beg your wife if you want to do anything. Luckily, I come from a different culture, thank God. And I don't suffer from that. However, I do see my friends, my counterparts, my good friends, and they suffer from this. Yes, the woman wears the pants, and if we want to do something, well, he's got to beg her. Where was I before this? I'm forgetting. Here, yes, in the West, they compete with you. I think that's a lot of stress on a marriage. I think it's always better to have a wife that's supporting. She knows that, look, even if she made more money, you're still the head of the family. What you say goes. At the end, guys, I'll give you some Rumi. Rumi was one of the great thinkers in history. He said, look, correct balance is slightly off balance. Agree with this or disagree with it. But I think if you disagree with it, over time, you will regret it. You will pay a consequence. Okay? Take this as friendly advice. Rumi said, look, true balance is slightly off balance. Slightly. There's always a skew. It's always skewed to one side. What do you mean, Rumi? He says, look, imagine you were perfectly symmetrical. Think about this now. Imagine your body was perfectly symmetrical. You could not take one step forward. Because if your right leg stepped forward, your right leg would be dominant. Or your left leg would be dominant. They wouldn't be exactly the same. There would be a difference. Either way you interpret it, there must be a difference. If you were perfectly symmetrical, perfectly, 50-50, you would be frozen. Rumi says, look, you have one eye that's more dominant than the other. You have one ear that hears before the other. He goes, that's how you know where sound is coming from in the room. You have one hand that's more dominant. Even though if it's slight, it's slightly more dominant. True balance, for something to be functional, it has to be slightly skewed. It's not 50-50 down the middle. Think of it. Think of an airplane. There's a pilot and a co-pilot. There's never two pilots. There's never two captains, I should say. There's always a captain and a co-pilot. There's two pilots, captain. That guy's the boss. Whatever he says does. We don't argue with him. If he does something wrong, we can take him to court later, but on the flight, we obey his orders. Only the most extreme circumstance, if we think maybe he's lost his bearings, he's become mentally ill or something. But other than that, we obey his command. Why is that? Imagine two pilots in an airplane. One pilot is controlling one wing and the other pilot is controlling the other wing. Or picture them in a car. I have one steering wheel, you have another steering wheel. I control one wheel, you control the other wheel. Now, one day we're at odds. For many years, we're both agreeing to turn left together, turn right together. We have a harmony. Then one day we're just at odds. For whatever reason, we're having a bad day. And you want to go right, I want to go left. And we're completely at odds. You turn right, I turn left. Guess what? We crash. We die. That's why over time, they realized that there needs to be somebody in charge and then an assistant. There's no industry, there's no successful industry in human history that's perfectly 50-50. Not one. So when I married my wife, I sat her down. I said, look, you want to be married? She said, yeah, okay. I said this. I said, look, we can talk, we can dialogue, we can go back and forth. However, if ever we're in a deadlock, remember, we're making an agreement. Me and her, we're making a partnership agreement. We're going to be partners for life. We're going to get married. I told her, look, by default, my decision is the last call. You agree or you don't agree. If you agree, we get married. If you don't agree, Allah maki. We can't get married. But you have to agree to this and never forget it. I'm going to remind you. It's going to be in our contract. Meaning, so to speak. She agreed. Yeah, okay. She knew me well. You could change my mind. If you give me a good argument, I'll change my mind. I'm very good at changing my mind. Anybody gives me a good argument to make my wife happy, I'm always changing my mind. I'm always giving her what she wants. However, if there's something I'm very adamant about, and at the end of the day, we're in a deadlock, we default by my way, even if I'm wrong. This, I think, should be a staple in every relationship. There is one who's the leader, and it has to be the man. I'll tell you why. Because if the woman's the leader, she secretly, in my opinion, loses her attraction. She has the power rush. She loves it for a while. And all of a sudden, she's like, no. You know what? Instinctually, the way we've developed, human beings have developed, she will always want a man, in my opinion, who takes charge. Now, taking charge doesn't mean being controlling, being a bully, being abusive. using force. True control is you control friendly, kind. And you take a beating. A good leader takes a beating. Yeah, your wife's mad at you. You let her blow off her steam. You did things wrong. You apologize. Me, I apologize. If I do something wrong, I apologize. I do things wrong all the time. You know, I remember once we were hanging out with a couple, and I was talking to them. We were talking about a fight we had, and the other couple was shocked that me and my wife ever fight. They're like, "You guys fight? You guys fight?" They thought we were this perfect couple. Like, I'm far from it. We always fight. We fight all the time. Not fight. Not like throwing furniture. No, but disagreements. I like this way. You like that. Oh, we don't agree. You know, like all the time. Family's family, guys. Family, you fight, you get over it. It's not a big deal. That's part of life. Family, you get carte blanche. Forgiven. It's family. Forgiven. Forgot about it. Oh, that happened. Water under the bridge. Easy to let go. This is very important, you know. And family, especially a big family, the Zahabis were a big family. We step on each other's toes every so often. Okay, so I think this is a correct attitude. Whereas here in the West today, oh, even my father, if he insults me the least, I don't talk to him anymore. Oh, my brother, he did something I don't like, shun him. They lost this sense of value. I'm so glad I caught you online. Good morning, Firas. Tomorrow I have my first MMA fight. Any advice regarding breath work too? Thank you very much, Firas. That's from Amir Zuhabi. I want to wish you all the best for your fight tomorrow. I'll tell you one thing. Keep your hands up and your chin down, my brother. Just do that. Keep your hands up and your chin down. And hopefully you have a great fight. Mike Goodwin, thank you very much. What a generous donation. Very, very appreciated. All right, here we got tons of super chats. Okay, no, actually, no, I did them all. Okay, we had a ton of super chat. Oh, another one just popped in. PK. Oh, boy. PK is killing me today. Has it been, what time is it? Oh, my goodness, 1 a.m. How do we identify what is haram in Islam? I want to be a good Muslim. The gray areas mess me up. I already pray, fast, give, etc. How do I find the truth? I trust no one. That's from PK. Well, that's a bit extreme. No, I wouldn't say I trust no one. Trust the experts. Research deeply. And look, haram is really simple. There's very few things that are haram. Haram, guys, for those of you who don't know, is what's forbidden. Very few things are forbidden. Avoid those things. Generally speaking, everything that's haram or forbidden in Islam is bad for the family. Look at Islam. Forbids gambling. How many families you know have been destroyed by gambling? I know many. If you don't know many, it's because you're young. As you grow older, you'll see. Alcohol. How many families have been destroyed by alcohol? Countless. Alcohol is worse than drugs. I think it's destroyed more families than drugs, personally. I think if you look at the history of alcohol, it's a horrendous one. Horrendous. Alcohol is horrendous. What else is haram? I mean, gambling, alcohol, drugs. Okay, drugs kills families. Yeah, absolutely. What else is haram? Extramarital sex. Well, your wife's going to leave you if you're cheating on her. Yeah. What else is there? I mean, it's really a small amount of things. It's really, really a small amount, you know. So it's not so bad. It's not so hard. Now, you know, the Quran tells you if something is vague, don't make a big issue out of it. The things that are clear cut and easy or well known, that's what you should follow. Don't make a big deal out of the things that are vague. That's I think a great advice, because if you look at most disputes, it's always about the little vagaries, little things. Drop that, man. Just drop it. Just say, look, that's your opinion, my opinion. I don't even want to talk about it. Stick with the easy things to follow, the things that are well known, well established, and that's more than enough. That's way more than enough. Red pill for us. How do you define drugs, coach? That's from Jiu-Jitsu. Look, everything is a drug. I get it. Sugar is more addictive than cocaine. I get it. I would say drugs, even though coffee is a drug. Guys, coffee, regular coffee that you drink in the morning, used to be haram, forbidden. When the Muslims discovered coffee, it's a Muslim invention, they didn't know what to do with it. They're like, hey, wait a second. Like, is this bad? Because they didn't know what to do with it, they erred on the side of caution. It's haram, forbidden. Later on, they experimented. They realized, hey, it's not haram. It's not bad. Why is it not bad? What's not haram? It doesn't destroy the family. I drink coffee every day. My family's fine. We never associated drinking coffee with destroying the family, destroying your good manners, your good health, your mind. Actually did the opposite. There was an enlightenment period. Some people say that coffee attributed because the Muslims had a huge explosion of science. And some said, look, coffee had a lot to do with must have been a contributing factor. I agree. Could be a contributing factor. But it doesn't destroy the family. Like, for instance, like if tomorrow some new thing comes about and it's destroying families, I would say, look, that's haram. I think it's haram. I don't know. It's not written anywhere. Nobody. But I think it's bad. I'm going to avoid it. Maybe it's not officially haram, but I'm going to avoid it. Why? Because it destroys families. It destroys my health. It destroys people's psyche. It destroys the family unit. Anything you bring me that's destroying the family unit, for me, it's haram. I don't want it. Not for me, it's haram, but I recommend you avoid it. Even if it's not officially haram. I think that's what the principles of the laws are. That's the idea behind it. That's how I see it. As a philosopher, that's how I see it. Bring me something that harms the family, I'm going to tell you that's a hard drug. Even though technically coffee is a drug, I'm going to tell you that's an illegal drug, illicit drug. I think that this, by and large, will destroy families. Take it off the table. We don't want it. We should never know it. I've never known these things. I don't desire them. I've never known them. You're doing them a favor if we took all the hard drugs around the world and poof, destroyed them. Not drugs for medication and all that. I'm not talking about people who are in the hospital and they need medication. I'm talking about those people. I'm talking about recreational hard drugs and all that. If we took that and took it off the planet and made it inaccessible, we'd be doing humanity a favor. So many people would be thankful. They'd be like, thank you. You got this off my back. You got this monkey off my back. I thank you. They would praise you. They would say, you're the guy who eliminated all this. You're the guy who took away all these drugs and all that. Yeah, that's you. They would kiss your hand. They would praise you. They would make statues of you. They would write poems about you. They would praise you to no end. As they come out of withdrawal, they would be they would feel so liberated. You know, one time I heard somebody who was an addict. He was giving a speech and he said, after he recovered, he said, there's no greater feeling than having a sober mind. This is what his epiphany was. He said there's no greater feeling than having a sober mind. Think about this. The man was addicted, and his addiction was to intoxicate himself over and over again. If he didn't, he'd feel sick. He needed this intoxication. Now he was in this perpetual state of intoxication. To him, that was a hell. But he couldn't physically stop. He was trapped in a hell. And he's trapped in a hell because somebody hooked him on it because they wanted to make some money. So for a small amount of money, they hooked him into a hell. They dropped him into a hell. Somebody out there said, look, for this amount of money, I'm willing to put you in hell. The guy overcame his addiction, sober, goes around the world telling people how great it is to be sober, encouraging people to become sober. And I remember him saying this. He says, there's no greater feeling than having a sober mind. There's no greater experience than having a sober mind. I believe him. And I'm glad to have a sober mind. My mind is a sober mind. It's always been a sober mind, always will be. And I believe him when he says that. Even though I've never been in drugs, I've never been hooked, I believe him. I think he's correct. Because I've seen what people go through when they go through drugs. It's hell. All their life, slowly. And then overnight, so slowly it turns into a darker and darker life. And then all of a sudden, overnight, their life is complete hell. So try to avoid that fate. Be wise. Be wise to see what drugs does to people. And by drugs, I mean things that destroy your social life, your family life. That's a hard drug. The problem is there isn't a way to wage a war on drugs without causing more harm than good. Jiu-Jitsu says, look, I'll tell you how you get rid of drugs. You teach kids when they're very young that drugs are forbidden, haram. And I would put all the rappers, I don't care what race they are, I'll put them all in jail. All these rappers, they're saying, all these rappers, guys, I blame rap music. I'm not blaming any race. I'm blaming the culture of rap music. Listen to these raps. Oh, I took this cocaine and I went here and the guy didn't have the money, so I shot him 3 times. Pop, 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 la, la, la. And then I came and I took this girl and I did this to her and then I made this much money. I'm counting my bills and my... They're making it musical. They're making it fun. They're making it cool. They're making it like the kids excited. Now they're making the drug dealer, he's so up here. Me, if I was the head of state, guys, if I was the ruler of the world, maybe I will be one day. Maybe, who knows, guys? If you guys are watching this and this channel grow, maybe I'll be the emperor of the world one day. Maybe. You never know. All these rap songs, I will take them as confessions. I'll bring them out in front, say, play them, their confession on tape. I said, oh, you're telling the world, you're admitting to shooting somebody, selling cocaine? And the guy would say, no, that's just fantasy. I made it up, etc. Oh, but you don't say that in the video. You don't say that in the song. I would have each rapper take back each word, admit he's a fraud. He's never shot anybody. He's never sold a gram of cocaine. And if he did, I'll put him in jail. He's a criminal. I would teach these young kids that these are criminals. Now, I know you guys are going to be like, oh, coach, you're harsh. Guys, think about it. Any drug dealer out there makes money off ruining people's lives. It's not a noble or cool profession. It's not. It's sad, guys. And I know people who sell drugs, and I hate to say it. I tell them, every friend I ever had that got into drugs, I used to tell them, guys, I have dear friends, when I grew up with them, later on, they became into drugs. They went into drugs, and they ruined their lives, all of them, every one of them. I used to tell them, guys, it's not the right path. It's not correct. It's wrong. Avoid this, like, you don't need this. You can do better than this. Oh, I know it's money. I know it's cars. I know it's houses. I know it's women. I get it. Well, we can get all that without this. We can get all that. It's a lack of confidence. You think you can't get a woman, you can't get a house, you can't get a car, you can't provide for yourself without doing this? This is how you're going to do it. You're going to go lie, cheat, steal, shoot people, murder people, poison people because you want a shiny car. Like, you want that girl over there so badly, you're ready to poison another human being. I think it's redundant. Like, are our prospects so low? Are we so feeble? Are we so unable that we're going to do this? We're going to shoot our neighbors. We're going to attack our neighborhoods. We're going to, like, that's ridiculous. That's weak. That's weak. That is weak. That is cowardly. Okay? I think, though, most people are not doing it out of weakness or cowardice. They're doing it out of cultural popularity. It became so popular. The West accidentally or slowly, inch by inch, started praising the criminal. Like, I remember Eminem actually has a song where he calls himself a criminal. I'm a criminal. And he's talking about all the bad things. And people love it. They praise him. Oh, yes. We want to be criminals. I've been all over America. It's a beautiful place. There's like 20 plus beautiful metropolitan cities. I'm going to go visit the rest of it. It's not so beautiful. It's very ghetto, very rough, very scary. Imagine all the poor in America saying, look, we won't drink, we won't smoke, we won't do alcohol, we won't shoot each other anymore. We won't lie, we won't cheat, we won't steal anymore. We won't pay interest anymore. Imagine all of them got together and said that. What would happen? What would happen? They would come out of poverty. The middle class would rise. They would go from poor to middle class. Then it would go from middle class to rich. Then they would go from rich to running the country. So long as they're drunk, stoned, killing each other, cheating each other, fighting amongst themselves, they'll never be successful. As long also as they're hyper promiscuous. Guys, I hate to say it. Nobody loves women more than me. Nobody loves women more than Coach. Nobody. I'm not prude in any way. But I'm telling you guys, when you teach women to be promiscuous, when one woman has 3 kids from 3 different fathers, there's something wrong in your society. You got to think here a little bit. You got to think. Nobody wants that girl. Nobody wants those kids. It's sad because then they're going to grow up, those kids, and they're going to keep the cycle of... They're going to keep that lifestyle going, is what I'm trying to say. You taught them that's normal. And then they go on to the next generation. And then you have 10 generations of just like failures. Violent, criminal, unhappy. Just like, it's not that complicated. But you got to take them when they're young. If you take them when they're young and you teach them, look, you don't need this. You don't need that. You don't need to lie, cheat, steal. You'll be successful without it. you instill in something in them something very different. Whereas a woman who's having 3 different children from 3 different men, and don't tell me this doesn't exist, because they do exist. Something's wrong with that girl. That girl thinks, hey, I'm so low on the scale that I could just take it. Anybody wants to have a kid with me, I'll take anybody's kid. I'll take anybody's. She has no self-worth. It's very important. This is, your action speaks louder than your words. Okay, guys, what else we got here? Thoughts on abortions. Right to right against Dedicated one. Dedicated one wants to know, what's my right on abortion? Well, I'll tell you guys something. That's a very tricky question. Second trimester abortions, I think, are completely wrong. Guys, no more super chats, please. I'll take the next one. But please no more, because I'm gonna wrap it up. It's getting late. Guys, second trimester abortions, in my opinion, completely wrong. Why? When they give you an abortion, second trimester, the way they do is they open the woman up. They open up her canal. They open up her uterus slowly, gently. It's not that easy. They could really injure the woman if they don't do it correctly. They have to do it slowly. They use larger and larger instruments to do it slowly, and then they take like these, I don't want to call them calipers, but they're like tongs, and they have to take the baby out. Now they're gonna go physically grab the baby, pinch him. A surgical abortion, second trimester. Look it up, guys. They have to go in there, and they gotta rip the baby out limb from limb. They can't just take him out the whole way out. They can't. It's too big. The baby's too big to pass. If they try to widen the uterus more, they can injure her, the mom. They can lacerate her. They can make it dangerous for her to have babies in the future. There's a lot of complications that can occur. So they open it to a certain diameter. Then they forcibly rip off the limbs limb by limb. And when they get to the head, now the head's already been severed. The head cannot pass as one piece. They have to crush the head. Crush the brains. Literally crush. After that, they have to go and scrape out all the goop, because the woman can get infected, of course, because the body parts will rot. They have to scrape the whole human remains out. They crush this child, who has a heartbeat, of course, who I think is alive in there. I personally think is alive. Now, women say, my body, my right. My body, my choice, excuse me. That's insane. I don't think it's a good argument at all. It's actually a really ignorant argument, in my opinion. And I say that with most respect possible, because we're not talking about your body. You want to abort yourself? Abort yourself. We're talking about the human being that's living within you. His body, her body, in there. Not your body. Your body, you can do what the hell you want with your body. You want to throw yourself off a bridge. I'm not saying, you know what I mean. She could do what she wants to her body. We're not saying that's her body. We're saying that's not her body. Now, on the other hand, in the first trimester, I don't know at what point exactly, and a lot of you guys are going to be like, how Islamically, I'm not sure about the Islamic rule. I'm not sure. I have to research it. I haven't researched it, okay, so forgive my ignorance. But I'm not sure at what point we consider the baby to be alive, because the thing is, if you consider as soon as the egg is inseminated, well, then why not take a step back and say, well, as soon as the male, ejaculates, you should say masturbation is wrong. There was the potential of life. Now you're saying you're blocking the potential, because we're all going to agree that, I think a vast majority of us are going to agree that a fertilized egg is not a human being yet. Like, there's just potential for a human being. But we could trace potential far, far back. Potential is, well, I always say you're not allowed to use condoms now. That's potential. So I think what we have to say is, you can't kill something that's not alive. When is it human? When is it alive? Not an easy thing to answer. Okay. I think experts should come together and decide when is our best, because we can never prove 100% that we're 100% certain. Okay, at this moment you're 100% alive. Okay, at what time, what minute, what day, like what second? There's going to be a margin of error. I think before that, putting our best minds to the task, we say, look, we consider you alive here. Nobody can touch you anymore. You have human rights. That's what we have to do. Not every Joe Blow or every dummy with a blowhorn is going to say, oh, I think this, I think, okay, we don't care what you think. Bring out the experts. Make a consensus. Guys, that's the best human beings can do. Is Pluto a planet? When I was a kid, it was a planet. Today, scientists have thought about it again. They say it's not a planet. You know what I say? Not a planet. I agree. Okay, they shifted. It's okay. They did their best in the 80s. And now we're in the 2000s and they're doing their best, guys. That's the best they can do. Things are going to shift. They're not always going to be 100% correct. The consensus has changed. In the future, they might switch it. They say, look, we used to think this is when you're born, when you're alive. Excuse me. This is when you have human rights, you're alive here. We're going to shift it a little bit. We have new data and this is our best guess. What's your intention is to preserve life, be just to the human being, every human being. That's your intention. You're doing your best. I can't fault you for getting it wrong if you're doing your best. Okay, I'm with you. I hope you're with me on this. Our experts come, we ask them one question. When do you think it's a human life? Because once it's a human life, I'll protect that kid with everything I have. I don't care what the mother says. She doesn't want to have the baby or wants to have the baby, she's going to have that baby. I would say we have to force her to have that baby. If she aborts that baby, it's murder. You tell me when that child, I can't do it. I'm not an expert. And we don't need one man's, we need a consensus here. We need people to come together and say, look. Now, of course, atheists are going to have their answer. Muslims are going to have their answer. Christians are going to have their answer. But I think that's what we should go at. We should say, look, when is it alive? Can we get can we have like a worldwide meeting here? Can we get the top experts? Let them hash it out over years and then figure out, hey, this is when we believe it's alive. And that's it. That's all the question we have to ask. Nobody's going to say, actually, I should say, there are some people who say, I thought it was a joke when I first heard it, but then I heard it on YouTube. Like there was a news piece. They said some people even want the right to abort after the baby's born. They still think they have the right to abort. I think that's insane. That's insane. Like I have to double check that because I really hope it's like it's just some stupid video, but I can't even remember the source, so I don't want to say that it's true. But I remember being shocked that it actually was being reported that somebody has this opinion. You could be rest assured that if I see you trying to abort a baby after it's born, I'm gonna fight you tooth and nail. Like I'll put my life on the line. I won't let you harm that baby. I don't care if nobody wants it, I still won't let you harm that baby. Now, again, guys, everything I just said excludes extreme cases like the child has a horrible deformity. Like I wouldn't want to be born if I had a horrible deformity. Like I would say, look, guys, if I had the choice, don't let me be born with a horrible, horrific deformity or something like that. Okay, if the child's life is just going to be pain and suffering or whatnot, those are things for the parents and the medical experts to decide. I'm not talking about any of those. If a woman is raped or whatnot, those are all extreme cases that I'm not talking about. I'm talking about just a girl who had a promiscuous night. She went out there, she got drunk, she dated some guy, slept with some guy, doesn't know who the father is. She has a baby, and now she just wants to abort it. But she waited 3 months. She's now hitting the second trimester. She wasn't sure. She had doubts. She had an appointment, didn't fall through. They canceled for whatever reason, and then she had to travel. And I know it's second trimester, I'm still going to dump it. No. I think second trimester is completely out of the question, in my opinion. First trimester, when is it alive? That's my question. And that's where I stand on the issue. Okay, guys, I had a super chat right before I called. No more super chats. You missed it. The middle classes are bulwark against the poor in the U.S. The game is rigged against the serfs acquiring classes of consciousness in the U.S. Guys, I don't even know where to start with you, Dave. This is a question from Dave L. I have to look up these terms, which it's kind of too late for me to do that, Dave. I wish you would have dumbed it down for me. The middle classes are bulwark against the poor. I have no idea what that means, brother. I really wish I could help you. But I get what you're saying. The game is rigged. It's totally true. Look, there are definitely things the upper class, the rich, are doing to keep the man, average person, and the poor person down. I totally believe that. Totally believe that. In the 50s and 60s, if you wanted to buy a house, if you're a particular ethnicity, you could not buy in certain zones. Even if you have the money. Even if you have the money, you can't buy. Okay, now, of course, we're a long way from there, but still, wealth is intergenerational. My kids are going to inherit from my wealth, and their kids are going to inherit from their wealth. Your great-granddaddy was rich. Look at the Trumps. Grandpa Trump was rich. He gave to Fred Trump, and Fred Trump gave to Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's going to give to Donald Jr. And then John O. Jr. is going to walk around saying, oh, I'm such a smart businessman. He ain't no smart businessman. He ain't no smart businessman. If you took Donald Trump, you took Donald Trump Jr. and Donald Trump, actually, start them back at zero, give them an alias, change their face, take away all their Rolodex, take away all their contacts, have them start with just their street smarts. They're not going to make it. They're not going to make it. Warren Buffett, he'll make it. Start him back at zero. Take away his name, his brand. Start him back at zero. His name is John Doe. He's just starting back with his brain, with his know-how, his grit, his abilities. Warren Buffett makes it. Warren Buffett becomes a billionaire again. Donald Trump, in my opinion, never makes it. Never. If abortion is allowed, they should tattoo a tally chart by her haunted peace sleeve. Okay. Zoot wants them to keep track of how many abortions a woman has. That could be a wise thing, because I'll tell you, some women might imagine a woman walks in, she's like her 7th abortion or something. It's like, dude, like, you know, where did you get that thobe from? The hot topic, guys. My thobe, guys. Thobe is like a Arabic. No, it's not really a thobe, actually. So it's just a sweater. But I would love it if this was a thobe. Oh man, I'd be rocking. I'd be really happy. It's more of just a poncho, kind of like a sweater poncho / poncho. One of my Mexican brothers gave me this, which I'm telling you, I love this thing. I highly appreciate this thing. I absolutely love it. So, shout out to my brother, my good friend Sergio. Sergio got me this. Okay, guys, it's time to wind down. I'm going to do one last one and we're going to call it a day. All right. I missed the super chat. Oh, boy. Oh, man, this is a tough one. What do you think of the Sunni-Shia split in Islam? Is Imam Ali the successor? What a question, man. Would you think of it as a test from Allah, from God? Do you see who will stay true in Islam? Guys, there's I'm gonna you know, a lot of my audience are from the West. You know, they're from America, Canada, Europe, and of course a lot of Arab Muslims. That's why we get a lot of Muslim questions. A lot of my fans come from these areas. Now I have obviously a lot of Asian fans as well. A lot of Asian subscribers and Russian and all that, but the vast majority are Canada, America, Europe, and the Arabic countries. Okay, like you're really so I'm gonna answer this question because the West and Islam, they gotta learn to be friends, because you guys are gonna hear we're the fastest growing people. Like we're growing so exponentially fast that we gotta get familiar with each other's histories. In Islam, after the Prophet ﷺ passed, there was a rift. Now the rift was who should be the successor, who should be the next leader. Now there wasn't an agreement, but in my opinion, it's purely politics. Politics. Now, the first successor, was not who everybody thought. No, sorry, I shouldn't say. A lot of people thought it should have been a particular man named Ali, radiallahu anhu. They say, oh no, it should be him. But it wasn't him. It was someone else that was voted in. Some people think it was unfair and there was a rift. Now, Ali, the man who was not chosen, passed over, wrote a letter with his own hand accepting the new leader. He gave the bay'ah. The bay'ah is like the pledge of allegiance. He gave the bay'ah. Like he accepted it. And also, not only that, he had sons in the future, and he named them Abu Bakr, radiallahu anhu. Okay, he named them after Abu Bakr. He named his son after the leader, meaning how much I accept the leader, I named my son after him, just so nobody in the future creates beef. Still, the Arabs, the Muslims, are still saying no, even though it was just a common name. His second son, he named him after the second leader, because the second time they had a new president, they didn't pick him again. Ali wasn't the Khalifa till the fourth Khalifa. So you had Abu Bakr, Omar, Uthman, and then Ali. Every time he was passed over and he had a son, he named him after the leader. Why? That was so intelligent, because he was trying to tell people, look, don't divide. Don't divide yourselves. Now, there's a lot to this story I'm skipping over. But I'm telling you, like, even the guy that they're trying to back up, he's telling you, don't do this. Islam, in my opinion, it's not about who's the leader. It's important. It's very important. But Islam is about being a good person. That's what you should be concerned of. Everybody's fighting about this argument. I don't even want to talk about it too much. Just focus on being a good person. Being right, being a good, pious person. This is the mission. That's what you should really aim for. That's, to me, is politics. And even no matter how much you convince them, I think that this particular group you're referring to, there's a lot of guilt because the history is not so clean. Not that they did anything criminal or anything, but they didn't support certain individuals that I think they feel guilty. So they passed on this, like, we're going to redeem ourselves type of attitude. It's long, it's complicated, and I would like to have a dialogue with somebody from the other side rather than just be one-sided, okay? So, in my opinion, guys, it's very political, has nothing to do with religion, really. And even Ali, radiallahu anhu, he's saying, look, guys, I accept, and I name my children after him. How much further can you go? How much further? In my opinion, like, it's a complete, like, checkmate. It's checkmate. Like, he's telling you, like, how much he can. He doesn't want you to fight this battle. Yet people still fight this battle. Okay, guys, I want to finish it on something a little lighter, because that's something a little too heavy. Kevin Gates good, or another rapper you want to jail? I don't know who Kevin Gates is. Who's Kevin Gates? Is that a rapper? Let me hear. Let me hear this crazy stuff you guys listen to. Let's see Kevin Gates. Let's see here. Kevin Gates. I don't want to get played too much because I'll get flagged. What is this? Bad for Me official music video. Let's hear what this man has to rap about. Fully tattooed individual I'm looking at here. Okay, I'm going to put on the caption so I can read what he's saying. Okay, if I was emperor of the world, would I execute this guy? Let's see. Yeah, I don't like him already. You know, he's calling women bitch, 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 bitch. That's so demeaning. That's so bad, man. Like, it's so disgusting. Like, it's just so bad. Imagine that's your daughter. He's calling her bitch. Oh, how's your bitch? Oh, how's your bitch? My bitch, your bitch. Guys, this is so disgusting. Like, the fact that it's so embedded in the culture to refer to a woman as a bitch, a female dog. I don't know, man. I find it so dysfunctional. Like, how are you gonna see your woman as something unique and special when she was called bitch by everybody and she accepted it and it's part of the, like, it's just such a, they're pushing each other, they're pushing themselves down. And when you accept this kind of culture, you're accepting a lower form of culture. Why accept this type of culture? What's the benefit of it? Oh, it's cool, it's hip. No, you think it's cool. You don't see the cavity it's creating. Man, go in a a traditional type of world and call somebody bitch. Watch what happens to you. Go walk up to the Dagestanis and call them bitch. I remember once upon a time, I was in Thailand. Go to Thailand and call somebody bitch. Look what happened. Thailand's all about respect. I remember once upon a time, I was in a park, and some guy grabbed my hand, and I kind of pulled it away because I didn't know who that person was, and I wasn't happy he was grabbing my hand. And the guy got pissed and insulted me. And one of the Thai fighters knocked him out. And I don't think that guy ever insulted anybody again. I think he went the rest of his days not insulting anybody. He got a bad beating. And I wasn't for it. I was trying to stop the guy from hitting him. I was trying to stop my friend. But my friend was so insulted for me that the guy called me that. I didn't care. The guy insulted me. I walked away. In Thailand, man, it's all about respect. You show any disrespect it's fisticuffs. We're fighting. Now here it's like, well, I'm insulting her 50 million times. Young kids are hearing this and they're going to rap along to it. They're going to get desensitized to the word. And then one day your mom's talking to you and you're like, bitch. It's going to slip out. And then it's going to become normal to call mom's bitch. And then when you call your mom a bitch, why don't you call her a whore while you're at it? Call her that. And then, okay, mom's so low, we don't have to treat her good. She's so low. When she tries to give me advice about life, I laugh at her. She's a bitch. She's a hoe. She's a this. She's a that. Like, it's just so demeaning. It's just such a slippery slope. And I think you could see that in these kind of cultures, very few people make it. The vast majority of them suffer. Because, he's getting famous saying the word bitch, but then he sells that kind of culture to the rest of his people, and the rest of his people, it drowns them. He's getting rich and famous off it, but he's drowning the rest of the crew, which I think is sad, very sad. And the rest of the people just don't know any better. They don't know any better. They don't need anybody to say, hey, whoa, wait a second. This is putting us down. If societies could wake up, poor societies, and I'm talking about every one of them, if poor societies could wake up and say, look, we're being stepped on, and here's how they're stepping on us, and this is how they hold us down, and they climb their way out, when they look back at the time they used to live in this manner, they would be repulsed. They would be repulsed of how they used to be. There's no way they're ever going to be collectively successful. There will be few people that are successful, and the vast majority of them unsuccessful. Guys, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I always love hanging out with you guys. I appreciate it. Don't forget, anything I ever said was never meant to be insulting, ever. It's always meant to be friendly advice. We all have different opinions. I know we don't always agree. That's fine. I'm happy when you guys disagree. But, you're going to have to accept sometimes I don't agree with you. Most important thing is that we're always ready to change our minds. Never being dogmatic. I'm always ready to change my mind. Convince me. Show me a good argument. Teach me a better way. I'm always happy to change my mind. Okay, guys, with that said, I hope you had a great episode, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.